Wyatt didn't get home until 6:30 that evening. The moment he pushed the door open, he saw David and Sarah sitting on the sofa, scrutinizing half a sheet of A4 paper. "What are you two looking at?" "Nothing." Wyatt slipped on his house slippers and walked in, wedging himself forcefully between the two of them. He snatched the paper from Sarah's hand and scanned it. Raspberry leaf, maca root, evening primrose oil, donkey. He laughed. "Mom, this is all stuff from some holistic wellness blog." "What is this?" David stifled a laugh. "Your mother got that from some naturopath she found online. Says it's a secret recipe for making babies." Sarah immediately started shouting. "What do you know? This doctor is very famous in alternative medicine circles. Your brother-in-law is a doctor. Just ask him if this stuff is any good. He's a Western doctor. This is holistic medicine. It's not the same thing." Seeing that his parents were about to start bickering, Wyatt quickly held up his hands. Time out, time out. "Mom, let me ask you something. What do you need this for? At your age, you're not seriously thinking about having another kid, are you?" Before Wyatt could finish, his ear was seized in a tight grip. "I had my tubes tied over a decade ago." Sarah scolded. "Where am I supposed to have another kid? Then what's the recipe for?" "I'm keeping it on hand, just in case." "Mom, don't you think you're overthinking this?" Wyatt said quickly. "I'm barely in my 20s. I'm in my prime. You can doubt anything else about me, but please don't doubt my fertility." "Ha ha." David burst out laughing. Sarah slapped Wyatt's thigh and rolled her eyes. "You're just like your father. I told you, this is a fertility aid, not a cure for infertility. Right? You really need to get a hobby, Mom, instead of messing around with this useless stuff at home." With that, Wyatt got up and scurried back to his room. Seeing David still snickering, Sarah shot him a stern look. "What are you laughing at? Go mop the floor." David's smile vanished instantly. Time at home passed quickly. Wyatt had chosen to come home for Memorial Day weekend because it was one of the only 3-day holidays in the first half of the year. He had to stay in New York for the summer, so he knew he had to make a trip back sometime before then. Things at the company weren't too busy, so he'd seize the opportunity. On the last day of the long weekend, Wyatt packed his bags early. David drove them to Maple Creek Estates to pick up Chloe, then headed straight for the train station. "Call me if anything comes up at home," David said, "and lay off the cigarettes a little. Just worry about yourself," Wyatt replied. Later, yeah. There were never any sentimental words between father and son. After a simple exchange, Wyatt took Chloe's hand and walked into the station. Back at school, life returned to its placid rhythm. The concept of studying was now a distant memory for Wyatt. Investments was thriving. Some of the smaller projects they had invested in later were also starting to show positive trends. Besides the projects Wyatt had personally handled, the fastest growing was Toasties, the venture Sam was in charge of. The term fusion burger had suddenly caught fire across the country, and in just 6 months, they had more than 300 franchisees. You could now find a Toasties in many cities nationwide. The team at Deadless Robotics worked late into the night every day. Wyatt never asked what they were tinkering with, but in the company's group chat, he saw Logan Bell and his team discussing the robot dog almost daily. When it came to the technical stuff, however, Wyatt was completely clueless. As for Arc Interactive, that was even more interesting. In the first week, only the tech director, Dexter Duan, had worked nights and slept during the day. But somehow, one by one, the other programmers started following his lead. It led to a strange phenomenon at the company. If you went during the day, there might not be a single person there, but at night, the office was ablaze with lights. Wyatt had once asked Dexter why he developed this nocturnal habit. Dexter had given him a very brief answer. His exact words were, "My brain works better at night." Their progress was rapid. By mid-May, Wyatt was already testing version 1.0 of the Arc Interactive app. Although the features weren't all polished, Wyatt was quite satisfied. Both the UI and the response speed met his expectations. That Friday, Chloe suggested they go check on the renovation progress at their new brownstone. Wyatt left the office early, picked her up, and they headed over. As soon as Chloe got in the car, she spoke with a worried frown. "Something's off with Ashley lately. What's wrong with her? I can't put my finger on it. She's just distracted. One minute she's really happy, the next she seems totally down. Is she seeing a lot of that Trevor Dayne guy?" A lot. Wyatt frowned. "I thought he said he was only free on Sundays." "I don't know, but after we got back from the holiday weekend, he asked her out on Monday." "Monday? Yeah. Besides what you just said, has Ashley been acting weird in any other way?" Chloe thought for a moment. "Yes," she said quickly. "Tell me, she's not online shopping as much. You know, our roommates, they're always on Amazon or something. But Ashley has barely gone to the mailroom with us lately." Wyatt's eyes narrowed. "Are you sure?" "Positive. And a lot of times, when it's time for dinner and we're all going together, she'll either say she's not hungry or that she already ate out." As he listened, Wyatt slowly pulled the car over to the side of the road. He turned to look at Chloe. You don't think. I was right, do you? Right about what? Well, I said before. A player is either after one thing or another. Sex or money. You mean? Let's go. We're going to NYU, Tish. What for? There are too many red flags. I don't believe every single one of his classmates is out on an internship. If there's just one person still at the school, we can ask them about Trevor Dayne directly. Oh. Wyatt made a U-turn and drove straight to the art school. After calling Mandy and her roommates down, Wyatt got straight to the point. Mandy, how many dorm buildings are there for girls at this school? Just this one. Okay, I need you all to do me a favor. Go upstairs and see if you can find any senior acting majors still in their dorms. Ashley's namesake, Mandy's roommate Ashley, spoke up immediately. I know which floor the seniors live on. Let's go, Mandy said at once. We'll go ask. Sarah and Lily quickly followed, while Wyatt and Chloe waited downstairs. They waited for half an hour. As evening fell, the girls finally came back down. With them was a girl with long hair and glasses. Wyatt walked up to meet them. Cousin, Mandy introduced. This is a senior in our acting department. Courtney. Courtney glanced at Wyatt and Chloe, her expression surprised. Are you looking for me for something? Don't worry, Wyatt said with a smile. We don't mean any harm. We just wanted to ask you for a favor, to ask about someone. Who? Trevor Dayne. Trevor Dayne. Seeing her confused expression, Wyatt quickly corrected himself. Oh, my mistake. He goes by Trevor Gallo. Trevor Gallo. Courtney's face changed instantly. Why are you asking about him? Seeing the change in Courtney's expression, Wyatt quickly explained. A friend of ours is dating him, and she's been acting a little strange lately, so we wanted to ask about the situation. Well, Wyatt saw her brow furrow and quickly added, it's almost dinner time. Let me treat you to a meal. I can drive you back afterward. Courtney looked from side to side, feeling it wasn't right to talk there. She nodded. Okay. Wyatt quickly ushered her into the car. Since there weren't enough seats, he could only say to Mandy's 3 roommates, there's not enough room. I'll treat you all to dinner another time. You don't have to be so polite. I should. We'll head out then. Okay, bye, cousin. Mandy's roommates mimicked her, calling him cousin as well. Wyatt smiled, then got in the car with Chloe, Mandy, and Courtney, and drove to a nearby restaurant. Seeing how cautious Courtney had been, he specifically requested a private room. After they ordered, Wyatt had Mandy close the door and got straight to the point. Tell us, what kind of person is he? You're his classmate. You should know his character. Actually, Courtney hesitated, not knowing where to begin, but she soon started talking. I don't know him very well. His roommates would know more, but they should all be out on internships by now. It's okay, Chloe said, deeply worried about Ashley. Just tell us what you know. Wyatt quickly added, don't worry. What we talk about today won't be repeated to anyone else. Courtney nodded. I only know that after he started college, he dated a girl who I think went to the Riverwood Institute of Technology. During the fall semester of his junior year, that would be the year before last, the girl apparently developed depression. I heard, this is just a rumor, mind you, that she even self-harmed. Her family found their chat history on her phone and came to the school looking for Trevor. He took a long sick leave at the time, and after that, the whole thing just fizzled out. Chloe's eyes widened in shock. Her already worried heart sank even further into a state of panic. Wyatt pressed, are you sure? Of course. Everyone in our class knows about it. The girl's parents even went to his dorm room. His 3 roommates all know. After that, they didn't really hang out with him much. So, the main reason the girl got depression was because of Trevor. Probably. I'm not sure about the specifics, but if it wasn't related to him, why would her parents come all the way to the school? Anyway, we all speculated privately. Some said he was emotionally manipulating her. Some said he got her pregnant and then forced her to have an abortion. Others said he scammed her out of a whole semester's worth of living expenses. College students love to gossip, so you can imagine all the theories. Wyatt continued. Trevor must have heard some of the rumors. Did he ever try to explain himself to you guys? No. He just said the girl and her family were crazy. He signed with a talent agency now. Do you know what it's called? I do. It's called Trend Talent. They came to our school to promote themselves once, but it's a tiny company. It's not even considered a second-tier agency, so a lot of us look down on it. Wyatt paused. After the waiter brought their food, he continued. Besides that, what else do you know? Courtney countered. Does stuff that happened at school count? Of course. He received a major demerit from the school once. I think it was for not returning to the dorms at night and causing trouble at a bar. That also happened in his junior year. Does he go to bars often? I'm not sure about that, but I heard his roommate, Zhao Yang. Oh, Zhao Yang is one of his roommates. I heard him say once that Trevor often didn't come back to the dorm at night. But it's possible he was renting a place off campus. A lot of students at our school do that. After hearing this, Wyatt let out a quiet sigh of relief. It was a good thing Chloe had told him about Ashley today. Otherwise, if he had let her relationship with that guy continue, it would have been far too dangerous. Seeing Wyatt fall silent, Courtney offered, "That's all I know." "Okay, thank you. Let's eat." The four of them picked up their chopsticks, though Wyatt and Chloe were both preoccupied. After dinner, they drove Courtney back to school. Wyatt specifically instructed Mandy, "Don't tell anyone about this, and have your roommates keep a secret too. Also, don't go around telling people I'm your cousin. I don't want my reputation to cause you any trouble." Mandy replied dismissively, I know. "Mandy, I'm being serious with you," Wyatt suddenly yelled, startling Chloe beside him. Mandy immediately straightened up, her expression serious. "Okay, I promise I'll listen. Get out of the car." "Oh." Mandy got out and went back up to her dorm. In the car, Chloe looked worried. "What do we do now?" "Send Ashley a private message. Ask her where she is now." "Okay." Chloe took out her phone and sent a message to Ashley. After waiting 2 minutes, she showed the phone to Wyatt. She said she's out eating and will probably be back at the dorm soon. "Tell her to come back early. Say you have something important to do tonight." "Shouldn't I have a specific excuse?" Chloe asked, then quickly suggested, "How about we say it's your birthday? It's this weekend anyway." "Yeah, just tell her that." Chloe quickly typed out a message and sent it to Ashley. Ashley glanced at her phone and replied with an okay. Across from her, Trevor Dayne handed her a peeled shrimp. "What's up?" "I have to head back in a bit." "Why?" "It's still early. It's my roommate's boyfriend's birthday," Ashley said with a smile. "The one who was sitting by the door last time we all had dinner." "Wyatt." "Oh, I see. Do you want to come with me?" Ashley invited. For some reason, after that last dinner with Wyatt and his friends, Trevor had felt an inexplicable sense of unease. He thought for a moment and said, "Let's skip it tonight. If I get back to the company dorms too late, I'm afraid I'll leave a bad impression." "All right. I'll head back by myself then. Text me when you get back to school." "You guys aren't going to be drinking, are you?" "No." "Good. Stop peeling shrimp for me," Ashley said. "I'm already full." "It's fine. I like doing it." After leaving them all, Ashley and Trevor Dayne went their separate ways, one taking the subway home, the other hailing a taxi. Once she found a seat on the train, Ashley took out her phone and sent a message to Isabel. "Where are you now?" Isabel replied quickly, "With Michael. It's Wyatt's birthday today. Should we get him a gift or something?" "Birthday?" Isabel was confused. "I don't know. Neither of them told me." "How is that possible?" "Chloe just texted me." "Seriously? They didn't say anything." "I'll go ask her then." Ashley quickly sent a private message to Chloe. "You didn't tell Isabel and Sophie about Wyatt's birthday?" Chloe didn't know how to respond and just handed her phone to Wyatt. He took it, glanced at the message, and typed back, "Where are you?" "On the subway now. We'll wait for you at the station exit." "Okay." Though she didn't understand what Chloe was up to, Ashley had already replied, so she didn't overthink it. Meanwhile, after seeing Ashley off at the subway station, Trevor Dayne turned around, pulled out his phone, and made a call. "Hey, Trevor Connolly, where's the party tonight?" "Hey man, about that job I asked you to help me with." Right, in person. I'll head over to find you now." After hanging up, Trevor hailed a cab and headed for a bar. Once he arrived, he expertly navigated a small alley to the club's main floor. Seeing a young man with his arms around two women, grinding on a VIP couch, Trevor immediately ran over, looking as humble as a lackey. When Ashley came out of the subway station, she saw Wyatt's car parked by the side of the road. Chloe spotted her and immediately rolled down the window, waving. Ashley smiled and walked over, pulling open the car door and getting in. Chloe was bursting with things to say. She was just about to speak when Wyatt interrupted her. "Hold on. Let me drive to a quieter place." Wyatt found a nearby underground parking garage and parked the car. Ashley looked at them, bewildered. "What are you two doing? This feels so weird." Wyatt turned sideways. "Ashley, let me ask you a question first. Do you trust us?" Ashley frowned, completely baffled by his question. Wyatt quickly rephrased. "Let me put it another way. If Trevor and we told you the same story, and one of us was telling the truth, and the other was lying, who would you believe?" Seeing the serious look on Wyatt's face, Ashley had a sinking feeling. She answered weakly, "Why are you asking that? I've known you guys longer. Of course I'd believe you." Wyatt nodded, then glanced at Chloe, signaling for her to tell Ashley everything they had learned from Courtney. Chloe couldn't hold it in any longer and blurted out the whole story. At first, Ashley's expression was calm, but as she listened, her eyes widened in disbelief. After Chloe finished, she quickly tried to comfort her. "Ashley, you can't be with a person like that." Don't you even trust me? If you don't believe us, we can take you to ask his classmates yourself." Ashley was speechless for a long time. Wyatt looked at her trembling lips and asked softly, He hasn't done anything to you, has he? Ashley shook her head stiffly. Chloe said you haven't been online shopping much lately. You haven't been paying for everything when you go out, have you? The words had barely left his mouth when Ashley's head snapped up to look at him. Seeing her reaction, Wyatt already knew the answer. Ashley grabbed her phone, her expression agitated. I'm calling him right now. I'm going to get him over here and demand an explanation. Just as she unlocked her phone, Wyatt reached out and grabbed it. What are you going to say to him? Do you think he'll admit it if you ask? Do you still think this is all fake? Ashley, wake up. I know you already have the answer in your heart. You just don't want to admit it. Wyatt spoke earnestly. But that's okay. I will help you find the proof and put it right in front of you. Before that, what you need to do is cut off all contact with Trevor Dayne. Can you do that? Ashley. Chloe, who rarely raised her voice, couldn't help but shout when she saw Ashley's state. For some reason, Ashley's eyes suddenly turned red. She choked back a sob and nodded. Do not, under any circumstances, see him again, Wyatt said. It's best if you don't even reply to his messages. I can get you an answer by this weekend at the latest. With that, Wyatt drove out of the parking garage and took Ashley back to her dorm. Chloe had originally planned to spend the weekend with Wyatt, but seeing Ashley like this, she felt uneasy. Why don't you go back by yourself, she said to Wyatt. I'll stay in the dorm. Wyatt nodded, giving her a look that said, keep an eye on her. Chloe nodded back, indicating she understood. After watching Chloe lead Ashley into the dorm building, Wyatt sat in his car for a moment, then called Judy. Judy was chatting with a few VIP clients. When she saw Wyatt's call, she answered, her voice full of curiosity. Wyatt, what's the occasion? I'm surprised you have time to call me. Judy, are you busy? I'm at the spa. Wait for me. I'm on my way over. There's something I need your help with. Before Judy could agree, Wyatt hung up. She glanced at her phone and grumbled. This guy? Always so mysterious. After a 40-minute drive, Wyatt finally arrived at Aesthetica Beauty Center. He got out of his car and hurried inside. Since it was getting late, only Wendy, the receptionist, was at the front desk. Seeing Wyatt, she immediately stood up and smiled. Mister, Wyatt, it's been a while. Wyatt forced a smile. Where's Judy? She's upstairs chatting with friends. Wyatt nodded and quickly went up the stairs. As soon as he entered the tea room, he saw that besides Judy, there were 3 other women who looked to be about her age. His appearance clearly made their eyes light up. Judy, is this the handsome young man you were just telling us about? You all are too much. He already has a girlfriend. Stop staring at him like that. After rolling her eyes, Judy turned to Wyatt. All right, spill. What do you need? Wyatt didn't beat around the bush. You know a lot of people. I was hoping you could help me ask around if anyone knows about an agency called Trend Talent. As soon as he finished, one of Judy's friends raised an eyebrow. Trend Talent? An acquaintance of a friend of mine in the industry opened that. Could you help me ask if they signed a trainee named Trevor Dayne? Judy laughed. Mister, big shot. Why are you suddenly so concerned with a trainee? The guy's a player. A roommate of my girlfriend's got tricked by him, but she hasn't completely given up on him. I want to find some evidence to show her, so she can finally move on. At the word player, all 4 women's interest was piqued. These wealthy socialites had always despised men like that. Hearing about this, the woman who had just spoken immediately said, I'll call and ask for you right now. Trend Talent was a tiny, insignificant artist management company. For Judy to be spending her time with these 3 women showed they were no small fry themselves. As the woman made the call, Wyatt sat down and listened quietly. When it came time to ask for the name, the woman on the phone glanced at Wyatt. He quickly supplied, Trevor Dayne. Oh, his name is Trevor Dayne. Okay, I got it. Bye. Let's get together again soon. Judy was the first to ask, so, what's the story? The woman smiled faintly. There really is such a person, but he's already been let go by the company. They said that starting in mid-April, he stopped following company arrangements. They originally thought he had potential and wanted to cultivate him, but not only did he refuse to train as scheduled, he also had problems with drinking and gambling. After the company sent someone to catch him at a bar, they terminated his contract immediately. Wyatt nodded and smiled. Thanks. No problem. I hate players more than anything. If you need proof, I'll have her send me a copy of the termination letter in a bit. Perfect. An idea struck Wyatt, and he quickly added, could you also do me a favor and ask for the name of the bar he goes to? The woman picked up her phone and sent a few messages. A moment later, she added Wyatt on a messaging app and sent him the termination letter and the name of the bar. Wyatt copied the bar's name into his map app. Seeing it was only a 20-minute drive from his campus, he quickly stood up. I'm going to head over there now and try my luck. Seeing him in such a rush, Judy said, it's late. Drive carefully. Don't worry, I'm a pro driver. After Wyatt left, the woman who had helped him immediately asked, Judy, spill, how do you know this handsome young man? He's no simple guy. You can look him up online. Don't keep us in suspense. Tell us. Judy smiled. He's the founder of C. Investments. The company's valuation is already at $5 billion. I estimate he's probably the richest person under 25 in the country. As soon as Judy finished, a woman sitting next to her made an exaggerated slurping sound, then rested her head on Judy's shoulder, looking utterly captivated. Now that you put it that way, I'm really interested. Get off me, you hussy. Ha ha ha. It was almost 10 o'clock when Wyatt pulled up in front of Club 9. This was peak time with the most people coming and going. Before getting out, Wyatt deliberately put on a face mask, then strode into the bar. The layout of most bars was more or less the same, except for a few unique ones. Most had understated entrances, usually through a narrow corridor that opened into a hidden world. This wasn't Wyatt's first time in a place like this. He quickly followed the crowd into the main area. Most people were still drinking and chatting. The real party wouldn't start until at least 11, but the VIP booths were already mostly full. Between the booths, a group of scantily clad women danced energetically on the tables, completely unconcerned about any wardrobe malfunctions. Under the flashing lights, most of the people in the bar were attractive young men and women. Wyatt stood on a raised platform and scanned the room. He was surprised to spot a familiar face, Trevor Connolly. This was the rich kid who had been cheating with Lily while she was dating Alex, and who had blocked Wyatt and Michael on the road. If it hadn't been for Michael that day, things could have gotten ugly. Wyatt's gaze lingered on him for only a moment before moving on. But after a full sweep of the room, Wyatt didn't see Trevor Dayne. Just as he was starting to feel disappointed, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a message from Michael. Michael, what's going on? What happened to Ashley? Your girlfriend just called my girlfriend, and she rushed back to the dorm. Wyatt, it's a long story. The guy's a player. Michael, is Ashley okay? Wyatt, she's pretty shaken up. The guy must be a master manipulator. She was paying for everything. Michael, that son of a bitch. Wyatt, can't talk now. I'm in a bar. It's loud as hell. Michael, why are you at a bar? Wyatt, I heard he might be here, so I came to check. I'm afraid Ashley won't believe it until she sees it with her own eyes. After replying, Wyatt put his phone back in his pocket. Just as he was about to leave the chaotic place, an inadvertent glance up revealed Trevor Dayne appearing right next to Trevor Connolly. Wyatt composed himself and slowly walked in their direction. The lighting was dim. He was wearing a mask. As long as he didn't reveal his identity, no one would recognize him. He found a relatively close spot to sit down, but the music was so loud that even being nearby, he couldn't hear what they were saying. However, Wyatt could see that Trevor Dayne was acting incredibly deferential in front of Trevor Connolly, like a total lackey. But Trevor Dayne had his advantages, namely his good looks. Wyatt hadn't been sitting there long before he saw 3 or 4 scantily dressed young women approach Trevor Dayne, seemingly to hit on him. Trevor didn't refuse any of them and soon sat down with the group at Trevor Connolly's VIP table. At that moment, Trevor Dayne had none of the gentlemanly demeanor from their dinner together. He had been chatting with the girls for less than 10 minutes before they were all over each other. You can know a person's face, but not their heart. Wyatt took out his phone and sent a message to Michael. I'm sending you a location. Drive to the university and bring Ashley here. Michael? Wyatt, I found Trevor Dayne. Bring Ashley over. Let her see this guy's true colors. Michael, on my way. Wyatt, hurry. Amid the noise, Trevor Dayne leaned in to whisper in Trevor Connolly's ear. Trevor, man, I'm really in a tough spot lately. About that job I mentioned, aren't you having a good time right now? You're an art student. I can't give you any other kind of work. You wouldn't know how to do it. How about you set me up as a nightlife manager? Trevor Connolly thought for a moment and grinned. What? You want to be a boy toy in a club, hooking up with rich older women? Trevor Dayne gave a sheepish smile. It's not like I have a choice. Don't laugh, but lately, I've been letting a woman pay for all my dates and movies. Whoa. Trevor Connolly roared with laughter. You got skills, kid. I have to spend money to get girls, and here you are, getting a girl who spends money on you. Do you have any idea how hard it is to keep a girl happy? I'd love to spend money, but I don't have any. All right, enough of that. Let's go dance. Trevor, please help me out. I don't even have a place to stay tonight. You can crash with me at the hotel later. That works too. Back in her dorm, the more Ashley thought about it, the worse she felt. Throughout her time with Trevor Dayne, she had often asked herself, is this right? Is this a good idea? Is he telling the truth? But every time, she would remember the sweet nothings he whispered, the promises he made, and she would brainwash herself. If you like someone, you have to trust them. What Wyatt and Chloe told her today had violently yanked her out of the beautiful dream she had woven for herself, a dream that had instantly turned into a nightmare. As she had said, she had known Wyatt and Chloe for far longer than she had known Trevor. She knew exactly what kind of people they were. They wouldn't make up a lie to deceive her. They had no reason to. The thought that it was all a lie made tears stream down her face like a bursting dam. Chloe tried to console her for a long time to no avail. So she finally called Isabel and Sophie back to the dorm. When they heard what had happened, one was furious, the other was terrified. Under the comfort of all three of them, Ashley was just starting to feel a little better when Michael called Isabel. Isabel walked out to the balcony and answered impatiently, "What do you want? I don't have time for you right now." Michael was speechless. Wyatt found Trevor Dayne at a bar. "You want me to bring Ashley over now? Go over now?" But Ashley's already so upset. Better to rip the Band-Aid off quickly. Wyatt is worried Ashley won't believe it until she sees it with her own eyes. "I think he's right. You could just tell Ashley. If she doesn't want to go, then forget it." "Wait." Isabel didn't hang up. She walked back to Ashley and placed a hand on her back. "Ashley, Wyatt saw Trevor Dayne at a bar. He wants you to go see what kind of person that player really is. Do you want to go? If not, I'll—" Before Isabel could finish, Ashley wiped away her tears and said firmly, "I'll go. Right now." Ashley wasn't the type to suffer in silence. Isabel exchanged a look with Chloe and Sophie, then said, "Michael is downstairs. Let's go." "Okay." Chloe grabbed a tissue, dried Ashley's tears, and the four of them left the dorm together. Once they were in Michael's car, he drove straight to the location Wyatt had sent. It was 11:15 when he arrived. The atmosphere in the bar was at its peak. On the dance floor, complete strangers were wrapped in each other's arms, jumping around wantonly. Laughter, shouts, footsteps, music, a cacophony of sounds blended together, threatening to shatter their eardrums. Wyatt periodically glanced at his phone, then up at Trevor Connolly and Trevor Dayne. Seeing each of them with an arm around a girl, casually groping them, he felt a surge of impatience. What's taking so long? Thankfully, after almost an hour, Michael finally sent a message. "We're here, outside the bar." Wyatt received the message and quickly walked out. Seeing them all there, he said, "It's too chaotic inside. Michael and I will take Ashley in. The rest of you stay in the car. Okay, you guys be careful. Don't worry." After seeing the other three get back in the car, Wyatt turned to Ashley. "Don't overthink it. The only reason I called you here is to let you see what kind of person Trevor Dayne really is. It's better for you to know now than later. You two haven't known each other long anyway. You could just find someone else later." Ashley nodded, looking like she couldn't wait to go inside. Wyatt led the way, with Ashley in the middle and Michael bringing up the rear. Since it was Ashley's first time in a place like this, she was stunned by the atmosphere as soon as they entered the main area. The girls who had been dancing on the tables earlier had changed into new outfits after 11, with even less fabric than before. They were now dancing provocatively around a stripper pole. In the middle of the dance floor, a crowd of 20 and 30-somethings were wildly shaking their heads to the DJ's rhythm. Some were already locked in passionate kisses, but no one around them paid any mind, as if it were a common sight. The air was thick with a mixture of scents, perfume, alcohol, and smoke, which almost made Ashley, the first-timer, gag. Wyatt pulled her to a corner and pointed towards Trevor Dayne. Ashley looked up, and after a few seconds of searching, she found him. In that instant, she felt as if she'd been struck by lightning. The usually gentle and refined Trevor Dayne was now on the dance floor, his arms wrapped around a sexy girl in a crop top, their bodies moving intimately. Michael glanced over, shook his head, and then looked at Ashley. Seeing her standing there, completely frozen, he nudged Wyatt. But Wyatt didn't react. He knew that nothing he could say or do would help right now. She had to accept what was happening. Just like there was no medicine for regret in this world, people always had to pay for their past actions. Perhaps because Wyatt, Ashley, and Michael were standing perfectly still, a stark contrast to everyone else, many people couldn't help but glance their way. Trevor Dayne's hands were on the girl's hips, occasionally giving her a squeeze. The girl didn't mind at all, even leaning in close to his ear from time to time to whisper a coy, "Stop it." Trevor Dayne, or rather, Trevor Gallo, had finally revealed his true colors to Ashley. "Why are those three people staring at us?" "Who are you talking about?" "Those three over there." The sexy girl glanced toward Wyatt. Trevor Dayne quickly turned to look. The moment he saw Ashley, his mind went blank. He immediately came to his senses, hastily removing his hands from the girl's waist and striding towards Ashley. Ashley didn't move. Wyatt and Michael didn't move. And as expected, the first words out of Trevor Dayne's mouth were, "Ashley, let me explain. It's not what you think." The words had barely left his lips. Smack! Ashley raised her hand and slapped him hard across the face. Then, without a backward glance, she walked out. Just as Trevor tried to follow, Michael grabbed him. Trevor spun around, his eyes dark and menacing as he glared at Wyatt and Michael. He knew people like Ashley would never come to a place like this. Her being here was clearly Wyatt and Michael's doing. His gaze was filled with hostility. Wyatt said coldly, "From now on, don't let me see you again. And don't you dare go near Ashley. Who the hell do you think you are?" Almost in the same instant he finished speaking, Wyatt lifted his foot and kicked Trevor hard in the stomach. Caught completely off guard, Trevor stumbled back a few steps and fell to the ground. A beer bottle crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. The once raucous bar fell almost completely silent within 10 seconds. Trevor Connolly was the first to run over, followed by a swarm of bar security guards. Trevor Dayne clutched his stomach. Seeing Connolly approach, he was about to speak, but Connolly stepped on his foot and walked past him. Then, under Trevor's shocked gaze, he bowed obsequiously, a fawning smile on his face. "Mr. Zhao, Mr. Wyatt, to what do we owe the pleasure?" Trevor Connolly recognized them instantly. After blocking their car on the road that day, he had immediately gone home and looked up information on Michael Zhao. Though they hadn't met since, one night, after a late night of clubbing, his father had caught him coming home. His father had thrown a copy of the NYC Finance Weekly at his face, yelling, "How did I raise such a degenerate son? Look at him. He hasn't even graduated from college, and he's already built a fortune from scratch and become a multimillionaire." At the time, Connolly hadn't paid it much mind. The next morning at breakfast, he picked up the magazine and glanced at it. When he saw the feature article on Wyatt, he was completely stunned. He had thought to himself with relief, "Thank God I didn't mess with him that day. Otherwise, I'd be screwed." For Trevor Gallo, Trevor Connolly was someone he had to suck up to and couldn't afford to offend. But for Trevor Connolly, Michael Zhao and Wyatt were people he absolutely could not cross. Michael Zhao ignored Connolly, raising an eyebrow. "Who's this guy?" Wyatt shrugged. "He's the one who stole my roommate's girlfriend. The one who blocked us on the road that time, remember?" The moment Wyatt spoke, Connolly's face lit up with a sycophantic grin. "A misunderstanding. It was all a misunderstanding. I haven't contacted that Lily girl since that day. I swear. You can ask her if you don't believe me." Wyatt didn't respond, just glanced at the still prostrate Trevor Gallo. "Is he with you?" Connolly's eyes darted around. He figured they must have some kind of conflict, so he quickly distanced himself. "Of course not. We've just partied together a few times. We're not even really friends." "Trevor." Gallo clutched his stomach and staggered to his feet. He seemed afraid to look Wyatt in the eye and instead asked Connolly cautiously, "Oh, who are they?" Connolly's expression shifted in an instant. The fawning smile vanished, replaced by a roar of fury. "What kind of stupid shit did you pull this time, you idiot? You got the CEOs of Apex Capital and C. Investments to come after you personally. Apex Capital, C. Investments." Trevor Gallo mumbled the names, a tremor of fear running through him. Wyatt pushed past Connolly, saying, "Since this has nothing to do with you, get out of the way." Yes, you two go ahead." A degenerate son still had some street smarts. He knew who he could afford to provoke and who he couldn't. After speaking, he quickly left, taking the swarm of security guards with him. With Connolly gone, Gallo's courage completely evaporated. Wyatt narrowed his eyes, his gaze devoid of the warmth from their last dinner together. He said coldly, "Remember what I just said, or else you'll face the consequences." "Is that really going to be effective?" Michael stepped forward, looking Gallo up and down with a sneer. "Or I could just find some guys from the streets and have him crippled. Wouldn't that be a hassle?" "What's the hassle? When you got connections and people you know, what's there to be afraid of?" Seeing the raw terror in Gallo's eyes, Wyatt inwardly chuckled, but said aloud, "Let it go. We caught it early. No major harm done. Suit yourself." Wyatt took another step forward. Though they were about the same height, Gallo was now too scared to stand up straight. Wyatt looked down on him. "Don't let me see you again." "Got it." Gallo nodded instinctively. Wyatt averted his gaze and walked out with Michael. Gallo let out a huge sigh of relief, his forehead slick with sweat. After they left, he quickly took out his phone and searched for Apex Capital and C. Investments. When he saw the encyclopedia entries, his eyes widened in disbelief. After leaving the bar, Michael said with a grin, "So how was that? My line back, there was a stroke of genius, right?" "Yeah, it was pretty effective. With guys like that, soft words don't work." "True." After you said that, his eyes were full of fear. "I could see it." "What now?" Michael glanced at the time. "It's almost midnight. The dorms are definitely locked. We'll have to go to a hotel. Get a double room for the four of them to share tonight. We'll take another room." "Fine by me." Trevor Gallo put down his phone, utterly dejected. Seeing that Trevor Connolly hadn't left, he walked over to him. But just as he was about to speak, Connolly cut him off. "Trevor, from now on, when you're out partying, don't say you know me. I can't afford to offend either of those two guys. Don't you dare drag me into your mess. From now on, you go your way, I'll go mine. With that, Connolly wrapped an arm around the beautiful woman next to him and ignored Gallo completely. Gallo's lips trembled, unsure of what to say. But the thought of not even having a place to stay for the night spurred him on. He pleaded with Connolly. Trevor, can you lend me $500? Just so I could get a hotel room for the night. A sarcastic smile played on Connolly's lips. He took out his wallet, pulled out $300 bills, and threw them on the ground. That's all I've got. Take it or leave it. Gallo quickly snatched up the money and left the bar, his face a mask of humiliation. He glanced at the silent, late-night street, hesitated for a moment, then crossed the road to an ATM. He deposited the $300 Connolly had just given him as charity, then took out his phone and opened an online gambling site. Isabel, Ashley, and Sophie were all sitting in Michael's car. When Chloe saw Wyatt come out, she got out and joined him in his car. On the way to the hotel, she asked about what had happened inside the bar. After hearing Wyatt's account, she asked worriedly, "So he probably won't bother Ashley again, right?" "He wouldn't dare." "That's good. It was so scary. If we hadn't found out in advance, who knows what would have happened." Wyatt reached out and pinched Chloe's cheek with a smile. "This is all thanks to you. If you hadn't told me about Ashley, we wouldn't have seen through that guy's act so quickly." Chloe sighed. "I just hope this doesn't leave a scar on Ashley. You live and you learn. Now that she's dealt with a player, she'll be more cautious next time. How are the 6 of us going to sleep tonight?" "I'll get a suite for the 4 of you. You can all stay together. Michael and I will get another room." Chloe nodded. Thinking about how Ashley had still been crying in Michael's car when they left, she felt it was necessary to stay with her tonight. Also, she probably doesn't have much money on her. You, Isabel, and Sophie should talk and find excuses to treat her to meals for a while. Can't we just give her money directly? Are you silly? You think Ashley would take it? I'm just worried she'll need money for other things. If a college student isn't dating, food is the biggest expense. You guys should get up early tomorrow. We'll all go to Aunt Elaine's house to see little Evan. I think the little guy can say mama and dada now. Okay. The next day, Wyatt led the group to Elaine Yang's house. Elaine was at home with the baby by herself, and her days were quite boring. Besides taking care of the child, she could only sketch designs and scroll through social media. Having so many people over was a rare treat, and she was thrilled. Not only did she have her housekeeper cook a feast for lunch, but in the afternoon, after little Evan fell asleep, she stood from a designer's perspective and gave them all recommendations on the types of clothes that would suit them. A brilliant fashion designer can often tell what kind of clothes suit a person with just one look. Finally, when she got to Ashley, Elaine asked with curiosity, "Honey, what's wrong? You seemed unhappy all day." Ashley was still immersed in the events of the previous night and naturally couldn't be cheerful. When Elaine asked, she didn't know how to answer. Wyatt quickly stepped in and explained. He didn't make up an excuse, but told her the truth. After hearing the story, Elaine immediately pulled Ashley into her arms, smiling as she said, "What's there to be sad about? Seeing a person's true colors early is a good thing for you." Ashley's eyes welled up as she mumbled in agreement. Elaine patted her on the back and smiled. "Come over to my place whenever you have time. I love chatting with you young people." It was already 5 in the afternoon when the group left her house. In the parking lot, before getting in the car, Ashley took the initiative to say to Isabel, Chloe, and the others, "Don't stay with me tonight. I want to be alone for a bit." Isabel was about to speak, but stopped when she saw Wyatt shake his head at her. Wyatt smiled. "Then you can ride with me. I'll take you back. It's my birthday tomorrow. We'll all have lunch together, and then for the evening, we'll go to Mr. Zhao's place for cake." "Sound good?" Isabel answered on Michael's behalf. Michael immediately protested. "You son of a bitch, Wyatt. You're not going to make me get you a birthday cake, are you?" Before Wyatt could reply, Chloe quickly chimed in. No, I'll order one in the morning. That's more like it." "All right, then it's settled. We'll meet at Michael's place tomorrow at noon." "Okay." After making their plans, Wyatt drove off with Ashley, Chloe, and Sophie. He dropped Ashley off at her dorm, Sophie at her apartment, and finally returned to the hotel with Chloe. That night, Sarah and Miranda seemed to have coordinated, both calling at the same time. Sarah called Chloe, and Miranda called Wyatt. Finding it too troublesome to talk like that, Wyatt initiated a group video call in the Evans Family Funhouse group chat. They chatted about nothing in particular for a while. Wyatt remembered the social media post Sarah had made the night before and asked curiously, "Mom, what did you mean by that post yesterday?" "It was nothing." Chloe took the opportunity to check her feed. Sure enough, Sarah had posted something the previous night. It was just one sentence, with no picture. The original text read, "In this world, who is my safe harbor?" Wyatt rolled his eyes and called her out. "Did Dad make you mad again? He wouldn't let me eat spicy ramen in the house." Wyatt almost burst out laughing. "It's fine," he said cheerfully. "You can eat in my room. I don't mind." Sarah huffed. "No, you're not him." Huh. Wyatt was a bit dumbfounded. In his memory, this was the first time Sarah had ever shown affection for David in front of him. Miranda couldn't help but cover her mouth and giggle at the exchange. Wyatt was utterly speechless. He waved Chloe over. "Come here." Chloe looked him up and down warily. "What do you want? A kiss? Are you crazy? Just play along. My mom is showing off her love for my dad in front of me. We can't lose to them. Get lost." Seeing the two of them flirting, Sarah was delighted. She gave a thumbs up. "Well done. That's how you handle a man." As if that wasn't enough, she then reached out, grabbed David by the ear, and forcibly pulled him into the video frame, apparently wanting to demonstrate her domestic authority and her methods from managing men to Chloe. Wyatt's face darkened. He immediately left the video call, grabbed a pair of shorts, and went into the bathroom to shower. Chloe quickly rejoined the video call from her own phone. While Wyatt was showering, he could faintly hear them mention the word birthday, but he couldn't make out the specifics. By the time he came out, they had already ended the call. It was a long night for Ashley. She deleted everything related to Trevor Dayne, photos, messages. As for his contact information, she had already blocked and deleted him the night before. Lying in bed, she replayed many of the things Wyatt and Isabel had said. She felt they were right. Breaking up now was better than breaking up later. In truth, her sadness over the past 2 days wasn't because she had lost the relationship. It was because she had wasted her genuine feelings on someone like Trevor. For a woman, love can turn to hate in a second. The slap from the previous night was the best proof. Once she thought things through, it wasn't so bad. The next day, when Wyatt and Chloe came to pick her up, Ashley's spirits were much better than the day before. After lunch, Isabel suggested they all go to a karaoke bar to have fun. Among the 7 of them, besides the tone-deaf Michael and Leo, the other 5 were all karaoke fiends. As soon as they got to the KTV, the 4 girls crowded around the song selection screen, picking their signature songs. They had originally planned to sing for 2 hours, but the group ended up staying for the entire afternoon, only leaving when their throats were all scratchy. "What's the plan now?" "You guys take Michael's car and go ahead. Chloe and I will go pick up the cake." "All right." Gatherings like this happened several times a year. Almost every birthday, they would get together, just like today. It started with 5 people, then grew to 6, and then to 7. Everyone was used to it. After eating the cake, they watched a movie at Michael's house. Around 9 or 10, Wyatt and Leo drove back. Once they got to the hotel, Wyatt collapsed onto the bed. Chloe went into the bathroom to shower first. 20 minutes later, she emerged, wrapped in a robe. Seeing Wyatt lying motionless on the bed, she walked over. "Are you just going to sleep like that? I'll go shower in a bit. How about you unwrap a present first?" "A present?" Wyatt thought. "You've been with me these past few days. When would you have had time to get me a present?" He quickly sat up. "Where's the present?" Chloe pointed to the ribbon tied in a bow at her waist, a hint of shyness in her voice. "Untie it and see." Hearing this, Wyatt shot up, reached out, and gently pulled the ribbon. The bow at Chloe's waist immediately came undone. Chloe deliberately let the robe slip off her shoulders. The lingerie set she had bought from YW's official online store was revealed. Wyatt's eyes widened, all traces of sleepiness vanishing in an instant. In mid-May, the daytime high in New York was already approaching 85 degrees, a clear sign that summer was on its way. After returning to campus, Wyatt resumed his busy daily routine. The foundation for the new office building was complete, and the main framework was expected to be finished within 2 months. Chris was in charge of the project, visiting the construction site almost every day. The company's new project management system had also been implemented. Now, different departments could coordinate through the system, and Wyatt could review the work of each department, streamlining many unnecessary processes. Another 2 weeks passed. The day before Memorial Day weekend, Wyatt received a message from Dexter Duan. It was a very short sentence. "Mr. Wyatt, the software is done. Come over." He didn't even use the word please, but Wyatt didn't mind in the slightest. For the position of tech director, he didn't need a flatterer. He needed someone who knew their stuff. Wyatt quickly made his way to Arc Interactive. A female receptionist hired later on quickly came up to him. "Mr. Wyatt, Director Duan is waiting for you in the conference room." Wyatt nodded and walked over. The moment he pushed open the conference room door, he nearly pinched his nose. The room was filled with the strong smell of beef-flavored cup noodles. The layout was completely different from his last visit. The conference table had been moved to the side, and against the wall was a single camping cot. On the now-in-use conference table sat at least 2 or 3 empty noodle cups. Dexter Duan, looking disheveled, let out a yawn as if he had just woken up. "You wanted to see me?" Wyatt asked. Dexter replied concisely, "The app is done. Software testing shows no problems. I wanted you to take a look." So fast. It wasn't a very difficult project. Dexter connected his phone to the projector and opened the ARC Interactive Beta app. The response time was impressively fast, immediately loading the homepage. The features and layout were all implemented as Wyatt had specified in their meetings, and the 2 mini-games were already integrated. Dexter first demonstrated the basic functions of the software, then handed his phone to Wyatt, inviting him to try the 2 games. Wyatt took the phone and started playing. He spent only 2 or 3 minutes on Leapfrog, but played Flock Off for over 10 minutes. Although it was slightly different for what he remembered, the gameplay and effects were the same, essentially a 99% faithful recreation. Who was in charge of the UI for this? Linda. Call her in. I feel the interface still looks a bit unappealing. Dexter quickly went out and brought in Linda, the person responsible. Wyatt briefly explained the issues with the visuals. Linda jotted everything down and promptly went out to make the changes. You guys finished a 3-month task in 2. Make a list for me, ranking everyone by their contribution during development. I'll distribute bonuses based on your ranking. Got it. Then, after the Memorial Day holiday, I want you to integrate common games like poker, Pictionary, Go, and Werewolf into our app. That shouldn't take too long, right? Dexter shook his head. That's even simpler. Wyatt grunted in acknowledgement and didn't say much more. He walked out of the conference room, clapped his hands to get the attention of the employees outside, and said, "You've all worked hard these past 2 months. If there's nothing urgent today, you can all head home early. I wish you all a happy Memorial Day. Oh, and I'll have the finance department send out your bonuses with this month's salary. Keep up the great work." "Thank you, Mr. Wyatt." With the app finished, the next step was to prepare for its launch. The 2 mini-games Wyatt had chosen had gone viral for 3 main reasons. First, and most importantly, both games had used a marketing strategy borrowed from viral e-commerce apps. For example, sharing a game link would grant a player a revival or a reshuffle of the board. The ad copy also mimicked the clickbait style of news headlines, such as, "If you're not a genius, don't even try to beat this game or failed again and again and again. Maybe you should just give up." Second, both games had rapidly acquired a massive user base in a short period, which led to them trending multiple times and sparking a nationwide craze. Third, the games featured a leaderboard system, leveraging players' competitive instincts to keep them engaged long-term, creating user stickiness. Wyatt planned to use these same strategies for the initial promotion. But that was a matter for after the holiday. Wyatt stayed at ARC Interactive for less than an hour before leaving. In the late afternoon, he planned to drive to the music conservatory, but seeing it was still early, he decided to stop by YW first. YW had also been incredibly busy. After the designs were finalized, the factory was working overtime to produce the garments. With the experience from the first collection, the process was much smoother this time. However, there were still too many things to worry about. Fabric quality, supplier issues, craftsmanship, production lines, and various internal company problems, all of which Vivian had to manage. She was often so busy, she didn't even have time for lunch. When Wyatt arrived, Vivian was just about to start a video conference with the factory. She left Wyatt alone in her office and hurried to the meeting room. Wyatt wandered around for a bit, finally settling into Vivian's $1,000 Herman Miller ergonomic chair. After a few moments, he took a picture of the chair and sent it to Chris with a voice message. "After the holiday, replace all the chairs in our office with these." Chris immediately replied, "Do you know how expensive Herman Miller chairs are? It's not like I don't have the money." "Fine. It's all coming out of the company budget anyway. I'll order them today." Wyatt replied with an okay, then idly scrolled the mouse, looking at the design files on Vivian's computer. He opened the browser, intending to check the sales on the YW official online store. But when he clicked on the search bar, a list of recent searches appeared below. A few of them caught his eye. What age is considered advanced maternal age? Can a 38-year-old woman still have children? Wyatt stared for a moment, then closed the browser. After thinking for a long time, he suddenly picked up his phone and called Sarah. "Hello, sweetie. Mom, is that fertility recipe you had really effective?" "Of course. Why would I get it if it wasn't?" "Send it to me." "What for?" Sarah asked anxiously. "You and Chloe haven't even finished school." Wyatt quickly explained, "It's not for me. It's for someone else. I'll take a picture and send it to you right now." A moment later, Sarah sent the photo. Wyatt glanced at it, then picked up a pen from the desk and copied the recipe onto a sheet of A4 paper. At the bottom, he added a note. "Lady boss, my mom got this recipe. She says it's very effective. Maybe you should give it a try." After writing, Wyatt folded the paper, placed it in the most conspicuous spot on the desk, and then got up and left the office. When Vivian returned to her office after the meeting, she saw the folded A4 paper on her desk before she even sat down. She opened it and found a recipe inside. Her brow furrowed instantly. She didn't understand what Wyatt meant by this, because he hadn't written what the recipe was for. Meanwhile, Wyatt, who had already left the company, remembered this detail. He slapped his forehead, immediately pulled over, and sent Vivian a message. Lady boss, that recipe is for fertility. Vivian? Vivian, what do you mean? Wyatt, I accidentally saw your browser search history. Vivian's cheeks flushed red. That damn Wyatt. He was really something else. But he quickly sent another message. Good luck. Message has been sent, but was rejected by the recipient. That evening, after picking up Chloe, Wyatt drove to NYU Tish and took Mandy and her 3 roommates out for dinner. He didn't want to go back on his word. If it hadn't been for their help, he wouldn't have been able to find out about Trevor Dayne so quickly. And thanks to them, Ashley was gradually recovering from her failed relationship. The 3-day Memorial Day weekend passed quickly. On the first day, Wyatt and Chloe didn't even leave their hotel room. They slept in until 10, ordered delivery for lunch and dinner. The second day, they went out shopping, buying 2 light jackets and a matching pair of t-shirts. On the final day, Wyatt received a call from Elaine Young, asking if he was back in Riverwood. If not, she invited him to her place for the holiday. Wyatt agreed and went over with Chloe. Since Elaine's housekeeper was also away for the holiday, she had to cook herself, bustling around the kitchen early in the morning. Wyatt and Chloe were tasked with babysitting outside. 8-month-old Evan's face had gotten a little chubbier, but his eyes were huge. Perhaps because Wyatt and Chloe were frequent visitors, the little guy wasn't shy at all. When Wyatt covered his face to play peekaboo, the baby giggled happily. Chloe was a little put out. Every time they came over together, the baby was always more attached to Wyatt. When she held him, he would start crying after a little while, but when Wyatt held him, he barely fussed. But as noon approached, Evan started crying for no apparent reason. Elaine poked her head out of the kitchen. It's time for his bottle. Wyatt, could you feed him? Okay, Chloe volunteered. I'll make the bottle. Wyatt, do you know how? What's so hard about it? 113-degree water, 200 milliliters should be enough. Chloe raised an eyebrow. Are you sure it's 113 degrees? Before Wyatt could answer, Elaine called from the kitchen. Remember to use 113-degree water. There's an indicator on the water dispenser. I know. Wyatt stood up. I'd better do it. He took the bottle and expertly prepared 200 milliliters of formula. He even specifically asked, Aunt Elaine, no need to add probiotics, right? No need. Wyatt handed the bottle to Chloe, then bent down and lifted little Evan out of his playpen. He took the bottle back, turned it upside down to get the air out, and then placed the nipple in Evan's mouth. The little guy drank with surprising strength, his cheeks puffing in and out. Chloe sat beside them, watching the scene, and suddenly felt like a failure. Feeding a baby was supposed to be something women had an advantage in. How was a guy more experienced than her? Elaine brought out a platter of food. Seeing the loving scene on the sofa, she took out her phone, a maternal smile on her face, and snapped a picture to send to Miranda. Babies at this age eat and then sleep. After Wyatt finished feeding him and burping him, Evan fell asleep in his arms shortly after. The two stayed until 5 in the evening. After dropping Chloe off at her school, Wyatt drove back to his own campus late that night. The day after Memorial Day was the 1st of June. On Children's Day, thinking it had been a while since he'd spoken with Riley, Wyatt waited until after her evening study session was over and called his aunt first. After learning that Riley was home from school, Wyatt had his aunt pass the phone to her. Riley, what? I'm doing my homework. Her impatient voice was audible even through the phone. As her final exams approached, the girl was finally showing a bit of a rebellious streak. Her mother was speechless. Your cousin Wyatt is on the phone. What? I said your cousin Wyatt is on the phone. Do you want to take it? Coming. A few seconds later, Wyatt heard Riley's familiar voice. Hey, Wyatt. Just got out of evening study. Yeah, I just got home. Finals are coming up. How are you preparing? Okay. What does okay mean? Okay means okay. Wyatt laughed. Keep it up. Study hard. I'm coming back to Riverwood this summer to pick up your aunt. I'll bring you to New York for a few days. Riley nearly jumped for joy. Really? When have I ever broken a promise? But the condition is you have to get into the honors program at Riverwood High. Riverwood High was the best school in the entire city. Getting into the honors program was practically a guaranteed ticket to a top-tier university. You got it. It's a deal then. Yeah. Now go do your homework. And don't be too nervous. Whether you get in or not, you'll still have to come work for my company in the future. Riley laughed happily. I know. Bye, Wyatt. Bye. Riley hung up and happily handed the phone back to her mother, Susan. Seeing her smiling face, Susan asked curiously, "What did your cousin say to you? You look so happy." "Wyatt said he's taking me to New York for the summer. Did I agree to that? Why are you so happy?" Riley let out a playful huff. "I'm going whether you agree or not." She then walked back to her room. Susan was exasperated. She was just teasing. Riley had grown up with Wyatt. How could she possibly not agree to him taking her to New York? Still, Susan sent Wyatt a message to ask. Wyatt quickly explained, "I bought a place in New York, right? It's almost done with renovations. My mom wants to come see it this summer. I figured Riley will be done with her exams and bored at home, so I thought I'd bring her along to have some fun." With that explanation, Susan was completely at ease. Just as Wyatt finished replying and was about to video call Chloe, his phone buzzed again. It was a message from Victor Yu. "Victor Yu, is this recipe reliable? Are there any side effects?" After leaving the recipe, Wyatt had called Sarah that night to ask about it in detail. Seeing the message now, he quickly replied, "Don't worry. It's reliable." Victor Yu sent back an okay emoji, and that was the end of it. Arc Interactive's app was released a month ahead of schedule. The promotional warm-up, originally planned for July, naturally had to be moved up as well. Wyatt had instructed Fei Zhan to start recruiting early. By now, the marketing team was mostly assembled. There were people in charge of copywriting, video production, and paid promotions across different channels. Wyatt had made it clear to Fei from the beginning. This time, he only wanted to hire experienced people. One morning, Wyatt arrived early at Arc Interactive and brought the 5 new hires into the conference room. "All right, let's have each of you introduce yourselves so I can get your names and what you're responsible for." "Of course, Mr. Wyatt." Jenna Lee, with 7 years of marketing experience, went first. "My name is Jenna Lee. I've previously worked at Silverline Games and Tangshow Entertainment, where I managed the early-stage promotion and marketing for several projects." "Hello, Mr. Wyatt. I'm Pam, and I'm in charge of copywriting." "Hi, Mr. Wyatt. I'm Todd, responsible for paid promotions on social media platforms." "Hello, Mr. Wyatt. I'm Susan, responsible for paid promotions on search engine platforms." "Hi, Mr. Wyatt. I'm Irene, responsible for promotions on short-form video platforms." Wyatt nodded after listening. "Good, I've got your names. I won't waste any more time. Let's get to your assignments." "Ready." Today is June 5th. There are 25 days left in the month. I'm giving you a budget of $250,000 for promotion. I don't care what platform you use, but by the end of June, I want you to have spent all of it. Wyatt then turned to Jenna on his left. "Jenna, you're the lead. Can you estimate how many user registrations we can drive with that budget?" Jenna paused for a moment before answering honestly. "Our app has a guest mode. The exact number of registrations will depend on the fun factor and user stickiness of the games. In other words, if the games are fun, more people will register. If not, the opposite will happen. But we should be able to get a rough estimate from the first 3 days of data." "Good. Then you can get started." "Understood. I'll send a few copy ideas to the group chat later. You can use them as a reference for the style I'm looking for." "Okay, that's all for now. If anything comes up, communicate in the group chat anytime." Meeting adjourned. After Wyatt left the conference room, the 5 of them quickly returned to their workstations and got busy. As for the rest of the company, 90% of them hadn't even come in yet. Dexter, for example, usually arrived around 1 p.m. He wouldn't start working right away, but would first take a nap in his office. After waking up naturally, he'd start coding and would typically stay at the company until the first morning subway train started running. For the next 3 days, Wyatt's main focus was on the various promotion data. Thanks to the unique gameplay of the 2 mini-games, which was completely different from anything else on the market, the user acquisition data was excellent. On the first day alone, registered users surpassed 20,000. Moreover, Wyatt had cut out all in-game ads. The original watch an ad to revive mechanic was entirely replaced by a share the game link system. This user-get-user marketing strategy also significantly reduced promotion costs. In 3 days, the number of registered users reached 58,000. Jenna estimated that by the end of the month, the app's registered users could reach 500,000. But Wyatt wasn't satisfied with this number. He knew very well that the popularity of such mini-games comes in waves. If he couldn't build up the hype quickly, no amount of money spent later would be effective. So, Wyatt thought of another excellent promotional method: collaborating with game streamers and having them try the games during their live broadcasts. This would allow for precise user targeting. Furthermore, at this point in time, this model wasn't yet widespread, so the costs weren't very high. As a major shareholder in Ink Live, Wyatt easily obtained the contact information for business collaborations with other platforms from them. After negotiating commissions and signing contracts, streamers started trying out the games during their live broadcasts the very next evening. Because the games were so difficult to beat, many streamers were driven to frustration while playing Flock off, which greatly enhanced the entertainment value. As a result, the number of app downloads in just 2 hours that night exceeded the downloads of the previous 2 days combined. As the game's popularity soared, so did the number of registrations. It was at this point that Jenna reported something unexpected to Wyatt. While they were promoting the Arc interactive platform, another game company, also from New York, was promoting its own gaming platform. Their platform was called Reborn Games, and both platforms had launched at almost the exact same time. Jenna had expected Wyatt to be very concerned about this, but to her surprise, he simply said lightly, "Don't worry about it. It poses no threat to us. Capital has its own way of playing. When it becomes a threat, we'll deal with it then." Wyatt had no time to bother with such matters. These past few days, besides monitoring the platform's data, he was also writing up the gameplay and rules for new games. The current games on the platform, aside from the newly added Go and Poker, all had a flaw: a lack of player interaction. For this type of game, once the initial heat died down, it would be difficult to sustain them. So, Wyatt wanted to strike while the iron was hot and quickly launch a few new games with a style different from what was on the market, but which would also allow for online multiplayer interaction. After some thought, Wyatt settled on 2 games. The first was called Mountain of Madness, the infuriating game where a man in a cauldron climbs a mountain with a sledgehammer. The second was called Wobbly Woes, another game with a unique style. The former could inherit the traffic from Flock Off, while the latter could generate strong user stickiness. As long as these 2 games could be launched before the popularity of the first 2 waned, the platform could firmly establish its footing in the market. Because of this, Wyatt didn't even drive to see Chloe that Friday. Instead, he locked himself in his office, trying his best to recreate the 2 games he had played, using words and drawings. Chloe didn't know what he was busy with. On Saturday morning, she sent a message to Abby Zhang. Abby quickly replied, "Wyatt is busy with a new company. I heard from Sam that he didn't get back from the office until after 10 last night." After reading the message, Chloe replied with a thank you. Seeing Isabel about to head out, Chloe quickly stood up. "Isabel, do you and Michael have plans today?" "Not really. Could you ask Michael to give me a ride? I want to go see Wyatt. Why didn't he come over this week?" "He's really busy with work." Isabel answered on Michael's behalf. "Sure, you can come down with me. Michael and I don't have anything else to do today anyway." "Great. So what's Wyatt been up to lately?" "He's been so mysterious," Michael asked, his eyes on the road. Chloe just shook her head from the passenger seat. "I have no idea. You didn't ask." "No, I rarely ask him about work." Michael chuckled. "You better keep a close eye on him. The guy's a celebrity now. My uncle was saying that whenever his friends mention Wyatt, the first thing they ask is if he's single." Chloe smiled, completely unbothered. "It's fine. He works Monday to Friday, and he spends most weekends with me. I trust him." "Yeah, Wyatt's a good guy," Michael conceded. "He's reliable." Isabel, from the back seat, couldn't resist a dig at Michael. "Definitely. A lot better than some people." "Who's some people?" Michael shot back. "Some people know exactly who they are. This some person has no idea." "Heh, tired of their endless flirting." Chloe put on her headphones and tuned them out with music. Wyatt ordered a spicy Sichuan noodle bowl for lunch. Not wanting the smell to fill the office, he took his takeout to the lounge area by the entrance, propped his phone up to watch a gaming live stream, and started eating. Michael dropped Chloe off at the Vibe building. He was about to follow her in, but Isabel grabbed his arm. "What are you doing?" she said after Chloe was out of the car. "It's Saturday. Wyatt is the only one at the office. They're going to want to have their own little world. Why would you get in the middle of that?" Michael realized she was right. He put the car in drive and sped off with Isabel. Chloe rode the elevator up, her steps light and quiet, as she approached the glass doors to see investments. Just as Isabel had said, the office was empty except for Wyatt. She spotted him immediately, sitting with his back to the door, engrossed in his takeout. With his phone's volume up, he was completely oblivious to her presence. She watched him for a moment before stepping forward. Then, before he knew what was happening, she covered his eyes with her hands. Wyatt knew it was her the second he felt her touch, but when he heard her giggle and ask, "Guess who?" he played along. "Please don't. I have a girlfriend." "Oh, really?" Chloe asked, her voice playful. "And who's your girlfriend?" "A total dork." Chloe dropped her hands and gave his shoulder a light shove. "You're the dork," she huffed. Wyatt turned around, a wide grin on his face. "What are you doing here?" "I had Michael and Isabel drive me. I wanted to see if you were really working or just lying to me." "Were they? They didn't come up?" "Nope." Wyatt laughed. "You already have a spy on the inside. You think I'd dare lie to you? Please. She's your assistant. Who knows if she's loyal to you or to me?" Chloe sat down next to him, glanced at the matching watches on their wrists, and pouted. "Is this what you're having for lunch?" I haven't finished my work, and I was too lazy to go downstairs. Just grabbing something quick. Have you eaten yet? Wyatt asked. No. He immediately stood up and took her hand. Come on, let's go get some real food. But you're already halfway through this. It's fine. There are a few strays in the office park. They'll appreciate it. It's not like I can let you eat takeout with me. Why not? When I'm alone, anything is fine. No way. I read online that those spicy noodle delivery places are the least hygienic. A little grease never hurt anyone. Chloe's cheeks puffed out. If you don't listen, I'm telling your mom. Wyatt threw his hands up in surrender. Okay, I'll listen. No more takeout when I can avoid it, all right? I'm glad you're here, actually. The utilities are all connected at the house. We can get a professional cleaning crew in a few days. We should go check it out tomorrow and maybe hit up a furniture store to order the big stuff. When can we move in? July, August, and September are the hottest months. I'll go over whenever I have time to air the place out. If the air quality tests are good in September, we can move in during fall break. Wyatt added, my mom is coming this summer, and I plan on bringing Riley with her. Mandy is also coming to intern at the company, so it should be a lively summer. They chatted idly as they walked to a nearby cafe. After grabbing a quick bite, they headed back to the office. By mid-June, the afternoon temperature was already climbing into the high 80s. Wyatt locked the main office door, went back to his personal office, and cranked up the AC. I only woke up around 9, Chloe said. Why don't you take a nap on the sofa? I'll take you to the hotel when I'm done. It's fine. You do your thing. Wyatt sat at his desk, opened the document he'd been working on, and the sound of his keyboard filled the room. Chloe pulled a chair up beside him and just watched, her chin resting in her hand. After about half an hour, she started yawning, her eyes growing heavy. Soon, she was fast asleep, her head resting on her arms at the edge of his desk. Wyatt turned the thermostat up a few degrees. Worried the sound of his typing would wake her, he stood up, scooped her into his arms, and gently laid her down on the office sofa. He grabbed a throw blanket he kept for himself and draped it over her. For some reason, Chloe, who could never sleep soundly during afternoon naps in her dorm, slept like a rock in Wyatt's office. She didn't wake until after 3. Seeing Wyatt still at his computer, she got up, walked over, and stood behind him. She placed her hands on his temples and began gently massaging them, her voice a soft reprimand. Honestly, who does this? Your employees get the day off, but you still come in to work overtime. Wyatt smiled. This is something only I can do, and it's pretty urgent. How much longer? I don't know. Maybe another hour. Can't you be faster? Wyatt tilted his head back to look up at her. How about this? You give me a kiss, and I'll finish 1 minute earlier. Really? Yep. Chloe covered his eyes with one hand, and her lips fell like raindrops across his cheeks and mouth. A moment later, she pulled back. There. I definitely kissed you 60 times. Let's go. Wyatt wiped his face with a look of mock disgust. You're so annoying. Now I have your slobber all over my face. He's totally stealing my line, she thought. Chloe grabbed his ear and gave it a tug. Are you coming or not? Wyatt saved his document, shut down the computer, and stood up. He swept Chloe into his arms and announced, All right, let's go. Time to get back to work. What work? A wicked grin spread across Wyatt's face. What do you think? You're a pig. Put me down. The renovations on the house were nearly complete. On Sunday morning, Wyatt and Chloe, blueprints in hand, followed the designer on a tour of the property. When they saw that the final result was almost identical to the renderings, they asked the designer to arrange for a professional deep cleaning service. After a hurried lunch, they drove to the largest furniture hub in the area, a massive complex in a New Jersey suburb, to start picking out pieces for their new home. At one point, Chloe even video called Miranda for her opinion. After spending the entire afternoon wandering through showrooms and buying all the major furniture, Wyatt drove Chloe back to campus. The new week brought the beginning of final exams. But in their dorm room, only Alex seemed to be focused on studying. Wyatt, Chris, and Sam were all preoccupied with work. Chris had decided that passing or failing a few classes didn't matter much anymore. He had too much on his plate to dedicate the kind of time to studying that he had in his first 2 years. Besides, the whole point of studying was to get a good job and make money. Since he was already doing that, why bother with the extra step? As for Sam, spending so much time with Wyatt had taught him lessons he could never learn from a textbook. Like, effort doesn't guarantee reward. If hard work alone made you successful, there wouldn't be so many poor people in the world. For most people, hard work just means working hard. Or, the saying, a poor kid matures early, is one of the most toxic ideas out there. Real maturity isn't about knowing how to do chores, take care of your siblings, or work like an animal. It's about being street smart, reading the room, knowing how to talk to people, and making things happen. And there are two sets of rules in society. One is for the worker bees, the ones just turning the screws. The other is for the smart people. Most of what you learn in school is already outdated and useless. The moment Sam realized he was learning more valuable things at his job than in the classroom, the last traces of his bookish naivety began to fade away. On Monday afternoon, after lunch, Wyatt headed to ARC Interactive. Once most of the staff had arrived, he had the receptionist call the programming team into the conference room. So, I just got word that ARC Interactive has broken into the top 100 on the iOS free app charts, and we've got good rankings in a lot of the Android stores, too. The operations team deserves credit for that, but you all are the real MVPs here. I trust you've already received your bonuses. Were you satisfied with the amount? A chorus of yes filled the room. Good. Then, as usual, let's cut to the chase. This meeting is just like the last one. I'm here to give you your next assignment. Listen carefully and ask questions if you have them. Wyatt turned on the projector. On the desktop, amidst the usual applications, were two prominent PowerPoint files. Their names were Mountain of Madness and Wobbly Woes. Wyatt spent about 20 minutes explaining the gameplay and rules for both. Worried his explanation wasn't clear enough, he had even sketched out some abstract drawings of the game screens. Mountain of Madness was a single-player game with simple, straightforward mechanics. It wouldn't be too difficult to create. But Wobbly Woes was another story. It was an online multiplayer game with numerous levels and complex gameplay, a whole order of magnitude more difficult. After listening, Dexter Duan, his lead programmer, spoke bluntly. We don't have enough people. You have a month and a half. I only need the first 6 levels done in that time. Based on that, how many more people do you think we need to hire? 10. And they have to be experienced, not rookies like these guys. The recent top-tier university graduates in the room didn't even flinch at the insult, a silent testament to Dexter's undeniable technical prowess. All right, I'll have HR start recruiting. I have a few seriously talented guys in my coding group chat, Dexter said quickly. They're all working at big tech firms right now, but the burnout is real. You wanted to see if they're willing to jump ship. Birds of a feather flock together. If Dexter said they were talented, Wyatt didn't doubt it. Besides, these games were just the beginning. They would need more and more people down the line. Wyatt dismissed the rest of the team and spoke to Dexter alone. You know their situation? What kind of salary do you think it would take to get them to leave? Their current base is around $140,000. With bonuses, they're probably clearing $180,000 a year. In 2017, that was a very high salary. But you have to spend money to make money. Wyatt didn't hesitate. I'll offer them a base of $180,000, with bonuses on top of that. Guaranteed minimum of $200,000 a year, with other performance bonuses separate. I'll let them know. It's up to them if they want to come, but it's pretty relaxed here. I think some of them will be interested. Good. The sooner, the better. At this stage, time is money for us. Got it. Meanwhile, at Riverbend Games, a similar meeting was underway, but the mood was drastically different. The CEO, a man named Dong Xiang, was furious. Same type of gaming platform, same ad spend. So why do they have rankings, and we still haven't broken 50,000 registered users? Tell me, why? The head of operations, a man with glasses, spoke timidly. Well, besides paid promotions, they also partnered with major live streaming platforms. Then we'll do that too. There's another reason. Spit it out. Our conversion rate is very low. To put it simply, our games aren't as good as theirs. The operations head stopped there, quickly shutting his mouth. Though furious, Dong Xiang took a deep breath. After a moment of thought, he finally spoke. Then copy them. Huh? The room fell silent as everyone exchanged confused glances. Dong Xiang continued. They made Flock Off, so we'll make Herd that. They made Leapfrog, so we'll make Hopscotch. As long as the gameplay is similar, it's fine. There's no shame in it. Look at the big tech companies. They copy other people's games all the time. No one dared to speak. Everyone felt that this approach was just cheap. Seeing their hesitation, Dong Xiang slammed his hand on the table. What are you all staring at? Get to work. Do what I said right now. As it happened, an employee at ARC Interactive was roommates with an employee from Riverbend Games. That evening, the Riverbend employee started complaining. Idiot boss. He doesn't know anything except how to rush us. Damn it, if I'd known, I never would have taken this job. Our company is hiring again, the ARC employee said. Why don't you try interviewing? Can you give me an internal referral? Could you ask for me? Sure, I'll ask tomorrow. Our boss already gave the order. He wants us to copy your 2 games and have clones ready within 2 weeks. Are you serious? Dead serious. He announced it in the meeting today. The guy just makes things up as he goes. The next day, the news reached Wyatt's ears. He wasn't worried in the slightest. In 2 weeks, the hype around those two simple games would have mostly died down. A company like Tencent could get away with plagiarism because of their massive user base. For a small company to try it, they were just shooting themselves in the foot. Dexter split his team in two. One group would focus on Mountain of Madness, the other on Wobbly Woes. After he laid out the company's situation in his tech group chat, several members quickly expressed strong interest. The pressure at big tech companies was immense. The pay was high, but so was the workload. On top of that, they had to waste energy navigating office politics. Many of them were unhappy. When they heard Dexter say that he worked afternoons, the boss was never around, and he could basically do what he wanted. The other programmers in the chat were green with envy. And now, hearing that the company was offering a base salary of $180,000, they all started sending Dexter private messages. By the middle of the month, 4 new tech masters had joined the team, each with their own area of expertise. Their arrival immediately lightened Dexter's workload, and both projects began progressing at the expected pace. Before they knew it, the end of the month arrived, and with it, final exams. The professors who hadn't seen Wyatt all semester finally got a glimpse of the school's famous young entrepreneur in the exam hall. The morning after his last exam, Wyatt's phone rang. It was Mandy. "Hey, cousin, where are you?" "Still in my dorm." "What's up?" "I'm downstairs from your office." Wyatt sighed. "Vacation started?" "Yep. Finished my last exam yesterday afternoon. Wait for me at the office. I'll be there in a bit." "Okay." Mandy made her way up to see investments. Everyone at the company knew her, so no one was surprised to see her. She waited for a while, but Wyatt still hadn't shown up. She sat down, opened her phone, and hesitated, wondering if she should message J.C. to ask when he was starting his internship. After a long internal debate, she couldn't bring herself to do it. It felt too direct. When Wyatt finally arrived, Mandy immediately attached herself to him like a shadow. She kept her little scheme hidden all morning, but finally, at lunch, she couldn't hold it in any longer. She glanced at Wyatt a few times, then asked sheepishly, "Cousin, did J.C. tell you when he's starting his internship with you?" "No. Could you? Maybe ask him." "Why don't you ask him yourself?" Mandy's voice dropped to a whiny whisper. "Come on, cousin." Wyatt was immune. "It's work hours. Address me by my title. Call me Mr. Wyatt. It's our lunch break right now." Since YW moved its headquarters to New York City, the office hours had changed from 8 to 5 to 9 to 6. Every morning, Vivian and Victor left for work together around 8:20. At noon, since the Gold River Group had its own cafeteria, both Richard and Victor ate there. This meant Vivian usually drove home for lunch. Most days, however, Judy would swing by to pick her up, and they would go home together. Today was no exception. At 11:30, Judy arrived at the company. Once Vivian finished her morning work, they headed down from the office building together. The drive home took about half an hour. The moment she got in the car, Vivian started yawning, looking like she hadn't slept. "Vivian, did you not sleep well last night?" Judy asked as she drove. "No, I slept fine," Vivian said, shaking her head with a hint of confusion. "I don't know what's wrong. I've been so sleepy the last few days. You should come to my spa this afternoon. Get a treatment, relax a little. We'll see when your brother is coming to get me. My brother's probably super busy lately. The group's second quarter financials are due. Hey, let's go shopping this weekend." Vivian smiled. "Shopping for what?" For. Judy thought for a moment, but couldn't come up with anything. The truth was, her mother, Julia, was constantly telling her and Victor that Vivian didn't have many friends in the city and that they should spend more time with her so she wouldn't get lonely. Vivian knew this, of course. She smiled warmly. "How about we go see a movie? It's been ages since I've been to a theater." "Okay." Judy agreed immediately. The two chatted all the way home. When they arrived, Julia called them to the dining table. Seeing her mother-in-law about to serve her rice, Vivian quickly stood up. "Mom, I can get it. It's fine, you just sit." "Mom, if you keep this up, my parents are going to say I'm being disrespectful next time I go home." Only then did Julia relent. The three of them sat down at the table. With Richard and Victor absent, the atmosphere felt a bit quiet. Vivian ate in small bites. Julia, out of habit, placed a piece of food on both of their plates. Vivian looked down at the piece of braised pork her mother-in-law had just given her. For some reason, her stomach suddenly churned. She covered her mouth, trying to suppress the wave of nausea. But she couldn't hold it back. She shot up from her chair and rushed to the bathroom. A moment later, the sound of dry heaving echoed from inside. Judy's eyes widened. "What's wrong with Vivian?" Julia froze for a second. When she snapped out of it, her face lit up with excitement. "Could it be? She's pregnant." "What?" "Quick, go check on your sister-in-law. I'll go get a pregnancy test." Judy hurried to the bathroom. She gently patted Vivian's back and asked, "Vivian, are you okay?" "I'm fine. My mom thinks you might be pregnant. What do you think?" Vivian said, dazed. "I don't know." She desperately hoped she was, but she was afraid of getting her hopes up, so she didn't dare jump to conclusions. But Judy said, "You've been sleepy and nauseous lately. Those are classic early signs of pregnancy. Do you think that remedy from Wyatt actually worked so well?" As they were talking, Julia arrived with a pregnancy test she had on hand. She passed it to Vivian with a hopeful smile. "Vivian, give it a try. Maybe it's real." Vivian nodded and took it. Julia gave Judy a meaningful look, and Judy quietly slipped out of the bathroom. 5 minutes later, Vivian emerged from the bathroom, holding the test. Seeing her calm expression, Julia thought it was negative and rushed to comfort her. "It's okay, honey. I'm not in a hurry. We can take our time." Vivian handed the test to Julia, her voice slightly dazed. "Mom, I think I'm pregnant." Julia snatched the test. When she saw the 2 clear lines, she looked like she was about to jump for joy. She helped Vivian to a chair, then turned to her daughter, her voice trembling with excitement. "Judy, quick, call your dad and your brother. Tell them to come home." "Okay." The father and son had just finished lunch in the cafeteria and were about to take a nap in their offices. After getting the call from Judy, Victor practically sprinted to Richard's office, his face beaming. "Dad, Vivian's pregnant." Richard was a bit confused. "What's pregnant?" "She's pregnant. Let's go home." As the 2 of them walked out of the office, their secretary approached. Richard said simply, "Reschedule all my afternoon appointment for tomorrow." "But you have a very important." "Is it more important than my daughter-in-law being pregnant?" "No, sir. I'll reschedule everything right away." "Congratulations, Mr. Yu." For 60-year-old Richard Yu, nothing was more important now than the continuation of his family line. He had 1 son and 1 daughter. His son, Victor, had just gotten married at the beginning of the year, and his daughter, Judy, didn't even have a boyfriend yet. In his younger years, consumed by work, Richard never gave these things a thought. But now that Victor was gradually taking on the company's burdens, and he himself was getting older, his desire for a grandchild had grown more intense by the day. On the way home, he kept excitedly urging the driver to go faster. When they finally arrived, Victor rushed to Vivian's side and began asking her questions in a low voice. Julia handed the pregnancy test to Richard for him to see. The smiles on the father and son's faces were identical. Finally, Judy had to remind them, "Dad, Victor, you should eat first. After lunch, we should go to the hospital to get everything checked out." Right. Richard quickly took out his phone and made a call, presumably to make arrangements for the hospital visit. The family ate a hurried lunch and then headed to the hospital. After a series of tests, the doctor gave them the verdict. The pregnancy was about 2 weeks along, and everything looked good. She would need regular checkups from now on. Hearing the definitive news from the doctor, Richard was finally at ease. When they returned home that afternoon, Vivian felt a complete shift in how the family treated her. If she stood up, Julia would ask where she was going. If she opened her mouth, Victor would ask what she wanted to eat. Though Richard didn't say much, the subtext of his few words was clear. He wanted Vivian to rest at home and put her work aside. But Vivian felt they were overreacting. She had just found out, and her company was in the middle of producing a new collection. The idea of sitting at home, doing nothing, made her anxious. Richard didn't dare to be too direct, so he quietly pulled Victor aside and whispered, "Listen to me. Don't let Vivian go back to the office. Nothing in the world is more important than the baby in her belly. You need to talk to her." Victor knew his words might not be enough. He quickly suggested, "How about I call her parents? Let them try to persuade her. She might not listen to me." "Good idea. Call them now." Victor called his in-laws to share the happy news. Vivian's parents were overjoyed to hear their daughter was pregnant. While they were celebrating, Victor brought up what Richard had told him. Vivian's mother naturally thought it was for the best and readily agreed. Hearing this, Victor immediately said, "Dad, Mom, should I arrange for someone to pick you up this week?" "No need," his father-in-law replied. "I'll have Peter drive us over." "That works too. Just let me know when you arrive, and I'll come get you." "Okay." Victor hung up and nodded at his father. Then, after a moment's thought, he dialed another number. "Hey, Victor, are you busy?" "Not just chilling." "What's up?" Are you going to be busy for the next little while?" Hearing this, Wyatt knew something was up. "Victor, let's not beat around the bush. Just tell me what you need." "Vivian's pregnant." Before Victor could finish, Wyatt let out a yelp, nearly falling out of his chair. Victor was speechless. "My wife is pregnant. What are you getting so excited about?" But Wyatt's next sentence almost made Victor burst out laughing. "Holy crap, does that formula my mom made actually work that well? From the looks of it, it's pretty effective. Anyway, I have something serious to talk to you about. Okay, shoot. Now that she's pregnant, my parents don't want her going to the office anymore. But she won't feel comfortable handing over the company to someone else. I was thinking, if you have time, could you help keep an eye on things at the company? For one, you're a shareholder. For two, she'll feel better if you're there. Wyatt didn't hesitate. Of course, I'll drop by whenever I have a chance. Bring your girlfriend over for dinner in a couple of days. You got it. Wyatt glanced at Mandy and then said, Actually, Victor, I have a favor to ask you too. Go ahead. It's nothing major. Summer vacation has started, so I can't stay in the dorm. My new house isn't ready yet, so my girlfriend and I have to stay in a hotel for the next 2 months. Plus, my mom and cousin are coming for the summer. Do you think you could arrange a few suites for us at one of your hotels? Victor laughed. You call that a favor? Take your pick. Any hotel under the Gold River Group. Once you've chosen, I'll call the manager directly and have him set you up with the best suites. Awesome. Then I'll bring my girlfriend over this Saturday. Should I invite Michael too? Sure. The more the merrier. Sound good. Talk to you later. Back in the office, Mandy watched Wyatt grinning from ear to ear and asked, Cousin, what are you so happy about? Nothing. You look like a total goofball when you smile. Isn't it work hours right now? Yeah. Making fun of your boss during work hours. That's a $50 deduction from your pay. Mandy pouted. How can you be like that? I'm going to tell my aunt. And did you just call me cousin? How many times have I told you? Use my title during work hours. Another $50 off. I quit. Fine by me. I'll send you back to Philadelphia tomorrow. Cousin, your sister-in-law is also on vacation today. I have to go pick her up in a bit. You wait here, and I'll take you to the hotel tonight. Oh, by the way, J.C. messaged me this morning. What did he say? Wyatt grinned. He's reporting for his internship tomorrow. You and he are both summer interns. I plan on putting your desks next to each other. Cousin Mandy chirped, running toward him. Wyatt quickly put a hand on her forehead to stop her. Get away. Your sister-in-law has been really jealous lately. Don't get your makeup all over my shirt. I'll never be able to explain it. Mandy giggled and made a heart with her fingers. Love you. Wyatt rolled his eyes and looked down at his phone, searching for nearby hotels. He finally settled on a Gold River Hotel near Central Highway in Queens. It was located right between YW and C. Investments, only a 15-minute drive to either company. At 4 o'clock, Wyatt left the office and headed for the music school. He not only picked up Chloe, but Leo and Sophie tag along as well. When they arrived at the hotel, Victor must have already called the manager. The moment Wyatt gave his name, the manager said, Mr. Wyatt, mister. He was already called. The top floor of our hotel is all suites. Besides 1602, which is occupied, the rest are all empty. You can choose whichever ones you like. Then just give me 3 connecting suites. No problem. 3 suites. 1 for Wyatt and Chloe. 1 for Leo and Sophie. The third was actually meant for Sarah and Riley, but since they hadn't arrived yet, Mandy got to enjoy having it all to herself for the time being. The next morning, Wyatt took Leo to ARC Interactive. He called Jenna Lee, Pam, Todd, Susan, and Irene into the conference room. Everyone, this is Leo Cheen. He'll be serving as our director of operations. I want to be upfront with you all. In terms of marketing and promotions, he's not as experienced as you are. I'm putting him in this position because of my relationship with him. He continued, his tone serious. I'm telling you this responsibly. His role as director of operations is temporary. In the future, he will be the general manager of this company. The operations department will grow, and when it does, the roles of director and team lead will be chosen from among you, the company's veterans. So, just focus on doing your jobs well. Wyatt shot Leo a look. Leo was a bundle of nerves, but he forced a confident smile. It's great to be working with all of you. I hope we can have a pleasant collaboration. All right, Wyatt said with a wave of his hand. You can brief him on your current work in progress. If you have any problems, just message me. Wyatt left as soon as he finished speaking. This was as much as he could do. How Leo handled things from here was up to him. But Wyatt figured that after all these years of watching and listening to him, Leo should be able to manage the office relationships just fine. When Wyatt got back to C. Investments, he saw J.C. sitting in the lounge area by the entrance. Mandy, who had been pestering him just days ago about when J.C. would arrive, was now sitting primly at her desk, a complete departure from her usual hyper self. G.C., you're here. Yeah. G.C. stood up, slinging his backpack over his shoulder. Wyatt gestured to Fei Zhan, his new HR hire. Fei, get him set up with his internship paperwork and assign him to the investment department. Should he report to Carter or Kevin? Whichever one of them has an active project. He's here to work, not to fetch coffee. G.C. nodded. Exactly. The busier, the better. Wyatt pointed to the empty desk next to Mandy's. That's your station. I'll let the investment team know you're here. Your main job today is to get settled in. Let me know if you need anything. Okay. As Wyatt headed toward his office, Abby Zhang intercepted him. Mr. Wyatt, you have a video conference this morning for the new funding round for OFO bikes. Also, the second payment for the office building is due. The relevant documents need your signature. I'll put them on your desk. Abby, from now on, try to schedule my work for the mornings. I'll probably be busy with other things in the afternoon. Got it. At the hotel, after finishing the complimentary breakfast, Chloe went next door to chat with Sophie. Since it was Leo's first day on the job, Sophie hadn't gone with him. Wyatt had left Chloe behind, so the two of them would have some company. But the thought of spending the entire summer cooped up in a hotel made Sophie uneasy. She didn't feel comfortable saying anything to Leo or Wyatt, but with Chloe, she could be direct. Chloe, are you planning on staying in the hotel for 2 months? No, I'm going to go to the office with him later. Sophie sighed. Won't that be awkward? Chloe saw right through her. So what do you want to do? I want to find a job too, Sophie said. I can talk to Wyatt at lunch. Is that okay? Sophie was worried. Wyatt had just given Leo a job, and now her. She was afraid the other employees would have an issue with it. I'll just say you're bored and want something to do, Chloe said. But it would be best if you weren't working with Leo, right? Right. The morning passed quickly. For a 9-to-5 job, the morning shift was really only 3 hours. It was Leo's first day, and he was eager to get up to speed, so he told Sophie he wouldn't be back for lunch. When Wyatt returned to the hotel, he took both Chloe and Sophie out. They found a restaurant and sat down. Before Chloe could even say anything, Wyatt asked, Sophie, what are your plans for the summer? You can't just hang around the hotel all day, right? Sophie was stunned. Chloe was too. They looked at each other and then burst out laughing. What's so funny? Wyatt asked. I was just about to talk to you about this, Chloe said. Wyatt chuckled. All right, tell me your plans. But friendly reminder, it's probably best if you and Leo aren't together all day. At this stage, it's better for him to be on his own at the company. Yeah, I just want to find something to do. Otherwise, I'll be bored out of my mind, and I won't know how to explain it to my parents. Then you can come with me this afternoon. Where? To YW. I'll find something for you to do. Chloe's eyes widened. To the lady boss's place? Shouldn't you give her a heads up first? What for? I'm a major shareholder and still technically the general manager. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, the lady boss is pregnant. Victor already talked to me. For the next little while, I'll probably be handling things at YW. The lady boss is pregnant? For real. For real. Wyatt said with a grin. This weekend, we'll all go over to her house for dinner. Okay. Sophie felt a weight lift off her shoulders now that Wyatt had so easily arranged a job for her. But then she remembered she was an art major. Besides playing guitar and piano, she didn't have any other skills. Her anxiety returned. But I don't know how to do anything. It's fine. As long as you can serve tea and give me a shoulder rub, you're hired. The moment the words left his mouth, he felt a murderous glare from across the table. He quickly laughed it off. Just kidding. If I really did that, Leo would kill me, right? Chloe pouted, but didn't say anything. Wyatt turned back to Sophie. Don't overthink it. I'll find a suitable position for you. Trust me. Would I ever steer you wrong? Okay. I'll follow your lead, Mr. Wyatt. If you say go east, I go east. If you say go south, I go south. Let's eat. After this, I need to go back to the hotel for a nap. Didn't you sleep well last night? Chloe asked. Wyatt gave her a wicked smile. Whether I slept well or not, don't you know the answer to that? Chloe shot back. I have no idea. Wyatt chuckled. Sophie cut in. Okay, you two, that's enough. Am I invisible here? After finding out she was pregnant, Vivian called Pam. She told her to keep an eye on things at the company, handle what she could on her own, and if she couldn't, to call her or come to the house. Pam was the first person to join Vivian's team, even before Wyatt. She was Vivian's most trusted confidant. Pam knew how much this pregnancy meant to Vivian at her age, and she tried her best not to bother her. But she was just an assistant. There were many things she simply couldn't handle, and lately, she had been running herself ragged at the office with little to show for it. Pam, maybe you should just call Vivian, an employee suggested. If we delay any longer, I'm worried the factory might have to halt production. Pam was torn. After a long moment of hesitation, she finally picked up her phone. But just then, Mr. Wyatt, an old employee from Riverwood, recognized Wyatt the moment he walked into the office with Chloe and Sophie. Pam heard the voice and whipped her head around. Wyatt, she exclaimed, completely surprised. What are you doing here? Wyatt didn't answer her question. Instead, he snapped his fingers and announced to the open plan office, all management, conference room in 5 minutes. The employees exchanged confused glances. Many of them knew who Wyatt was, But since the move to New York, he had been almost completely uninvolved in the company's affairs. Most of them were caught off guard. Pam's voice cut through the confusion. "What are you all staring at? Get ready for the meeting." Her words broke the spell, and people slowly began to get up and file into the conference room. Wyatt didn't go in right away. He took a picture of the office, sent it to Vivian, and typed a message. "I've got the company. You just focus on resting." Vivian had actually been waiting for Pam's call. She knew there were problems Pam couldn't solve. The moment her phone buzzed, she picked it up. Seeing the message from Wyatt, she was first surprised, then relieved. She smiled and replied with a simple, "Okay." Wyatt slipped his phone back into his pocket. He asked Pam to take Chloe and Sophie to Vivian's office before he headed into the meeting himself. The conference room was filled exclusively with women, with an average age of around 33. This was mainly because after the move to New York, they had hired for experience, which skewed the age demographic upwards. Wyatt walked to the head of the table, to the seat that was normally Vivian's, and sat down. A moment later, Pam came in, closed the door behind her, and took the seat to his left. "Vivian is pregnant and will be on leave for the foreseeable future. I will be responsible for all company matters. I've called you all here simply to let you know. Also, let me lay down some ground rules. I've always been about the work, not the person. While I'm managing this company, I expect everyone to do their part. I know Vivian, even as the boss, sometimes finds it hard to make tough decisions. I don't have that problem. All right, that's all I have to say. Now, let's go around the table. State your name, your position, and what you're currently working on. We'll start with you." After the brief introductions, Wyatt nodded. "Research and design, production liaison, procurement, marketing, merchandising, operations, sales, finance. Okay, I have a general idea. If you have any issues, you can stay. Everyone else can get back to work." The women in the room looked at each other, and then most of them stood up and left. In the end, only Pam and the head of procurement, Mandy, remained. "All right," Wyatt said. "What's the problem?" Mandy spoke up. "The fabric supplier we have a stable relationship with recently raised their prices by 5%, citing rising costs. This means we might have to change our entire pricing plan." "Have costs actually risen?" "No. The price of cotton has been quite stable lately." "Who set our current pricing plan?" "Vivian did." "Was it based on last year's prices?" "Yes." Wyatt nodded. "Then we're definitely not changing it. Do you have contact information for any backup suppliers?" "We do, but we haven't worked with them before, so I'm worried about quality. And the factory is waiting. We probably need the fabric in the next few days." Wyatt thought for a moment. "Find out who our current supplier's biggest competitor is. Contact them directly. Tell them to ship the first batch to the factory in Riverwood. We'll pay upon successful quality inspection. The normal procedure is to get samples first. These are special circumstances. When is the new collection scheduled to launch?" "October. Time is tight. Do as I say." "What about the price?" Mandy asked. "Offer them the same price as our old supplier." "What if they don't agree?" "They will," Wyatt said, explaining. "Think of it this way. You and Pam both have apples to sell, but the customer base is fixed. Right now, she thinks she can make an extra dollar off me, so she raises her price. Now I come to you. Will you sell to me?" "Of course you will. Not only do you gain a customer, but your competitor loses one. It's a double win for you." Wyatt smiled. "And if I'm not mistaken, as soon as our old supplier hears that we're in talks with their competitor, they might even offer to lower their price." Mandy's eyes lit up with understanding. "Okay, I'll get on it right now. Remember to coordinate with the factory. Make sure quality control is extra strict on this first batch. If we relax our standards now, the quality will never improve." "Understood." Mandy nodded and quickly left the office. Pam was still a bit stunned. "That's it? It's handled? Seriously, where did you learn all this?" "Pam, what are you spacing out for? Come on back to my office. Let's have a chat." Seeing Wyatt revert to his usual playful demeanor, Pam rolled her eyes. "Don't you worry. I'll be right there. I have a huge stack of documents just waiting for someone to deal with them. If I hadn't come, who would have done all this?" "Me, of course." "Wow. So I come to the company, and the biggest beneficiary is you." "Please, you're practically half the owner of this company. This work is what you should be doing. I'm just a humble assistant." Wyatt stretched and sighed. "Looks like there's no rest for me this year." With Vivian gone, Wyatt took over her office. When Pam brought in a large stack of documents, he began going through them one by one. A soft cough from Chloe reminded him he had forgotten something. "Pam," Wyatt said, "this is my girlfriend's roommate, Sophie. Take her to get her onboarding paperwork done and place her in the sales department for now. At 3 o'clock, have the heads of sales and operations come to my office." "You got it." Wyatt nodded at Sophie, who followed Pam out of the office. Seeing everyone outside busy with their work, Sophie felt a bit nervous. "Pam, what does the sales department mainly do?" It's mostly customer service. But I've never done that kind of work before. It's fine. Didn't you hear Wyatt? It's just a temporary assignment. He probably already has something else in mind for you. Will the others have a problem with me getting a job through connections? Sophie asked again. Pam knew exactly what she was thinking. She had the same thoughts herself. She smiled. You're overthinking it. I got my job through connections, too. I used to be just a cashier. Oh, back in the office after Pam and Sophie had left, Chloe walked over to Wyatt and whispered, Have you really figured out what you want Sophie to do? I have. Well, tell me. Wyatt gave her a mysterious smile. You'll find out in a bit. Chloe pouted and gave his back a playful slap. When he cried out in mock pain, she quickly started rubbing it for him. There was a lot of backlogged work, but most of it was minor. Wyatt processed everything quickly, signing off on all the documents in just an hour and a half. At 3 o'clock, the heads of the operations and sales departments knocked and entered his office. Wyatt got straight to the point. I'm going to pull some people from both of your departments to form a new live streaming department. We'll need hosts, operators, graphic designers, videographers, and customer service staff. I want you to have the personnel selected within a week. If you're short-staffed, have HR recruit more people. Also, Pam, get the office next door cleared out and have a professional team set up a live streaming studio. Okay, Sophie, Wyatt said, turning to her, until the live streaming department is set up, you'll follow the customer service team to learn about our brand and products. Once the department is ready, you could try being a host. Me? Sophie had zero confidence in herself. Wyatt nodded with a smile. That's right. We'll also find 2 experienced hosts to bring in. You can learn by watching them. Sophie's heart was pounding. She didn't know what to say. After the 2 department heads left, having clarified a few details, Wyatt saw Sophie standing there looking lost. He said gently, This position is actually perfect for you. You have a great image, and as an art student, your various talents are a big plus for a host. If you're not confident on your own, you could try to get Ashley to come over. You 2 could work together, prepare some scripts in advance. It's not as hard as it seems. Of course, if you're really not comfortable, I could just make you a customer service rep, but that job can be pretty boring. You should think it over. Sophie's face lit up. That's right. How could I forget about Ashley? I'll call her right now. Sophie had learned a thing or two. She didn't tell Ashley she'd be a host. She just said Wyatt had arranged an internship for her at YW and asked if Ashley wanted to join her. Ashley, who had no summer plans, agreed without a second thought. Wyatt spent his mornings at sea, investments, and his afternoons at YW. His schedule was packed. A single week now felt like 2. Fortunately, both companies were closed on weekends. On Friday night, Wyatt gave Michael a heads up. Saturday morning, after breakfast at the hotel, he drove Chloe to Victor's house. The trip took 40 minutes. By the time he arrived, Michael and Isabel had already been there for an hour. Richard and Julia were out, supposedly playing golf with friends. In reality, Victor had told them friends were coming over, and they thought the young people would feel more relaxed without them around, so they had left early. As Wyatt walked into the living room, he was greeted by the fragrant aroma of fruit. The coffee table was laden with all sorts of imported varieties. It was obvious they were for Vivian. Just as Victor was showing them to a seat, Vivian asked, How are things at the company? Everything's great. No problems. What problem could there be with me there? Wyatt grinned. You just relax. Oh, by the way, I'm adding a new department, the live streaming department, for selling goods live. I think it's the future of e-commerce, so it's good for us to get a head start. Vivian sighed, a hint of frustration in her voice. I could totally go to the office right now, but his parents won't let me. There's nothing I can do. The unspoken blame was directed at Victor, who was about to comfort her when Wyatt cut in. It's human nature. They're in their 60s. Who wouldn't want to dote on their grandchild? Work is just about making money. But from their perspective, do you think they need you to be making money? So I gave in, Vivian said. Michael laughed. Wyatt, you're something else. Now you're managing 2 big companies by yourself. 4, actually. 4. Yep. Michael's eyes widened. Besides C. Investments and YW, what are the other 2? You've probably never heard of them. One is called Deadless Robotics, still in the R&D phase. The other is called Arc Interactive. Arc Interactive. Michael and Judy shouted in unison. Wyatt was exasperated. Do you 2 have to be so dramatic? You son of a bitch, Michael said. So that game that's been blowing on my social media feeds is from your company? So many of my friends are playing your Flock Off game. Wyatt grinned. I put Leo in charge of that company. We should have a new game launching this month. Hopefully, we can keep the momentum going. Michael bowed theatrically. Mr. Wyatt, please stop earning money. At this rate, you're going to take it all for yourself. Get lost. But Michael's words had reminded Wyatt of something. He had almost forgotten about the movie his company had invested in, which was set to release this month. If all went as expected, that film was going to make them a fortune. Over the weekend, Wyatt went to the construction site alone. The office building was starting to take shape, the workers still toiling under the hot sun. At this rate, the main structure would be finished by the end of summer, with the interior work taking up the rest of the year and the first half of the next. Wyatt had already made up his mind. Since there was plenty of cash on the company's books and the building was his, he would furnish it to the highest standard. 7 floors. The ground floor would be the lobby and various support rooms. The second floor would be a company cafeteria. The third floor would be a recreation area, with a gym, a pool table, a wet bar, and so on. The third and fourth floors would be for Deadless Robotics and Arc Interactive. The fifth and sixth would be for investments. As for the seventh floor, that would naturally house his own office, along with reception areas for guests and partners. On Monday afternoon, when Wyatt arrived at YW, the live streaming studio was already set up. Ashley had completed her onboarding, and she and Sophie had spent the morning with the customer service team, learning about the clothing and various professional terms. In reality, e-commerce platforms had started dabbling in live streaming last year, but it hadn't fully taken off yet. This made it a prime time to enter the market. There were no major influencers to compete with for traffic, and they could accumulate experience, preparing for the live streaming boom of 2018 and 2019. Mr. Wyatt, how should we schedule our streams? 2 to 5 in the afternoon and 8 to 10 at night. Those are the high traffic periods. The 2 teams of hosts can rotate. Take an hour in the morning to review the previous day's performance. I'll set a goal for you. Sell $10,000 worth of product in 1 month. That'll be your target. Currently, the cheapest jacket at YW is around $120, with the average price being over $150. $10,000 wasn't a huge amount. They only needed to sell about 60 or 70 pieces. Okay, we'll start a test stream in a bit. Hearing this, both Ashley and Sophie felt a flutter of panic. Ashley, however, was in better shape. She was mostly just nervous. As an art student, she had frequently participated in school singing competitions, so she had stage experience. Sophie, on the other hand, had no such advantage. If she had to go on alone, she would probably be frozen with fear. Thankfully, having Ashley by her side helped calm her nerves. Not wanting to make them more nervous, Wyatt saw they were ready and discreetly left the studio. He returned to his office to handle his own work. As a supportive roommate, Chloe stood silently just out of the camera's view, cheering them on. If it were her, she probably would have turned and fled. In the evening, when Wyatt was about to leave for the hotel, he saw that Ashley and Sophie were also finishing up. He was about to offer them a ride, but they both said they wanted to stay a little longer. The 2 evening hosts were experienced, and they wanted to watch and learn. Throughout the afternoon, the number of viewers in the live stream had never exceeded 20. For a brand new stream, this was completely normal. But Ashley and Sophie were unsettled. Wyatt didn't press the issue, simply saying, "I'll have Leo come pick you guys up later," before leaving with Chloe. That night, Wyatt and Leo were at a dive bar with a great patio, grilling skewers. Mountain of Madness launches on the 15th. I tried it out. That game is a nightmare. I thought the tech guys came up with it. I can't believe it was you. That's the point. Leo was curious. How do you come up with these little games? I haven't seen you play many games since college started. Wyatt, of course, wouldn't tell him the truth. He made up an excuse. The first 2 came from browsing old Flash game sites. Mountain of Madness came to me in a dream. Inspiration just strikes when it strikes. Leo didn't probe further. At this point, unless someone told him Wyatt had sprouted wings, he would believe anything anyone said about him. We're spending all this money on promotion. How are we going to make a profit later? That's not something we need to worry about right now. In this era, traffic is king. Our main goal is to attract players first. The search engine ads don't seem very effective. Should we reallocate that budget to partner with live streaming platforms? The traffic from there is really good. You can decide on small matters like that yourself. When should I go pick them up from YW? Anytime. They finished a while ago. They could have come back with me this evening, but they insisted on staying. Leo smiled. I didn't want her to get a job, but she kept saying I was being a male chauvinist. I couldn't win the argument, so I had to give in. But it's good this way. She's at the lady boss's company, and Ashley is with her. I feel more at ease. After chatting for a while, Wyatt's phone vibrated. He picked it up and looked at it. All right, that's it for tonight. I'm heading back. What's wrong? Chloe messaged you. Yeah. When did you become so whipped? She sends one message and you're gone. Have you ever heard the saying? Wyatt said with a shrug. Happy wife, happy life. Leo almost choked on his laughter. After Wyatt left, he turned to the owner. Hey boss, can I get 2 orders of fried noodles to go? You got it. After summer vacation started, Alex had seemingly vanished off the face of the earth. It wasn't until late July that Wyatt received a few messages from Renee and found out that Alex had been at her spa the entire time, working as her free labor. Renee, Judy told me Vivian's pregnant. Do you think it would be appropriate for me to visit her? Renee, I can't decide, so I wanted to ask you. Renee, by the way, Alex has been here this whole time. Do you think he likes me? Wyatt read the messages and replied quickly. Nothing inappropriate about it, but you should probably give her a heads up first. Wyatt, and as for whether Alex likes you, you can't tell? Renee, I feel like our age difference is too big. He's probably just being impulsive. Wyatt, no. Renee? Wyatt, he's already been burned once. You think he'd be so impulsive a second time? Renee, but I'm already 30. Wyatt, that's up to you. I can't give you advice on that. But one thing, if you're going to reject him, be direct. Don't string him along. Better to rip the Band-Aid off quickly. Renee, I'll figure it out. Wyatt saw her message and didn't reply again. The moment Renee put down her phone, Alex walked in from outside, a big smile on his face, holding 2 glasses of iced lemonade. With Vivian pregnant, Judy's schedule had become much more relaxed. Unless a VIP client came in, she generally didn't go to the beauty center. In late July, under the scorching sun, Judy received a call from the spa in the morning. A member had booked a facial for the afternoon. After lunch, Judy drove to the spa herself. She waited for about half an hour before a luxury minivan pulled up outside. A young woman got out of the passenger seat, expertly opening a large sun umbrella. Then, the rear door slid open, and a woman with sunglasses on and skin so fair it seemed to glow walked toward the beauty center. Hello, welcome. The receptionist, Wendy, greeted her warmly. Hearing the voice, Judy came out from the back. Seeing the visitor, she smiled. What brings you to New York? The woman took off her sunglasses, revealing an enviably beautiful face. She smiled back. I'm here for an event. Just thought I'd stop by and see you. Let's go upstairs. It was the woman's second visit. The last time she was here was for the taping of a variety show. She went upstairs and lay down on the treatment bed, as if she owned the place. Judy sat beside her, smiling. Let me ask you something. That couple that's been all over the gossip sites lately, is it real? It's real. Wow. How did they even meet? They've never worked together. I don't know about that, but I know the story is true. The paparazzi took photos and sent them to her company first. The company thought the price was too high, so they ignored it and the story got leaked. Your world is just so messy. They chatted back and forth. The treatment must have been incredibly relaxing, because the woman on the bed seemed to fall asleep. Judy yawned, bored, and opened up Arc Interactive. Seeing a new game on the platform, she started playing. Less than 10 minutes in, Judy, who already had a short temper, couldn't stop herself from cursing. What is this stupid game? The more she played, the angrier she got, and the angrier she got, the more she wanted to play. After watching the character in the cauldron finally climb to a high point only to fall all the way back to the start, Judy wanted to smash her phone. The woman heard her and opened her eyes. What game are you playing? Mountain of Madness. That's the game that came out the day before yesterday, right? I'm playing it too. Yeah, a friend of mine's company made it. Your friend, MHM. The woman didn't ask further. She knew Judy's background, so it wasn't surprising that she knew some entrepreneurs. Around 3:30, the woman's agent stepped outside to take a call. When she came back, she whispered something to the woman, and they left together. In the car, the agent handed the woman a tablet. The studio sent over the photos. Pick a few, and I'll post them to your Instagram later. The woman took the tablet and swiped through the screen. When she saw a photo of herself playing a game, she asked, "When was this taken?" "Probably a candid shot in the break room yesterday," the agent said, then asked, "Should I blur out your phone screen?" "No need." The woman shook her head and smiled. "The owner of this game company is a friend of Judy's. I'll just do her a favor and give him some free advertising." Okay. The next morning, as soon as Wyatt got to the office, he received a call from Leo. "Spit it out." "Wyatt, how did you do it?" "How did I do what? What are you talking about?" "Last night," Leo said excitedly. Blake Lively posted on Instagram. There's a picture of her on a sofa playing Mountain of Madness, and the game screen is perfectly clear. Overnight, our app's daily downloads have more than quintupled. Who? Wyatt was confused. Blake Lively? Yeah, you didn't know about this? I didn't know a damn thing. Wyatt hung up and opened Instagram. He searched her name, and sure enough, in her latest post, there was a picture of her sitting on a sofa playing Mountain of Madness. Wyatt was dumbfounded. If it had been the other Blake Lively's celebrity friend, he would have understood, since they knew each other. But he'd never had any dealings with this Blake Lively. Why would she help him promote his new game? Half an hour later, he found out why. He got a text from Judy, asking him to transfer her a promotional fee. After a brief back and forth, Wyatt finally understood. The great Judy, you had pulled some strings. He immediately replied, give me your account number. I'll send you the promotional fee right now. Judy saw the message and huffed, then quickly typed back, forget this time. Vivian, sitting next to her, asked, who are you texting? Wyatt. About what? The game. What's the name of that game Wyatt made? Download it on my phone. I want to try it. Judy immediately protested. Vivian, you really shouldn't. Why not? If you play this game, I'm afraid it'll be bad for the baby. The explosive popularity of several consecutive games sent Arc Interactive soaring up the App Store download charts. But Wyatt felt they still needed one more push. He opened the Arc Interactive app and scrolled through the community forums, reading player reviews for the games. Flying Chicken. Which moron designed this game? Make them play it just once. Big OL Cigar. Is this game even meant for humans? Widow's Wall Creeper, Pictionary, and Werewolf are like 50% girls. Everyone, stop torturing yourselves with Mountain of Madness. Don't fall for me, bro. Please don't make a PC version. I'm afraid I'll break my mouse. Seeing that everyone was complaining about the new game's difficulty, Wyatt had an idea. He sent a message to Leo. Have them post an announcement in the app. The first player to beat Mountain of Madness can claim a $10,000 cash prize with a game recording and completion record. Any streamer who beats it live gets an extra $5,000 on top of that. For every day that no one beats it, add another $1,000 to the prize pool. Leo replied almost instantly, damn, that's a brilliant move. Leo, I'll get it done right now. Wyatt put down his phone. At 10:30, Carter Liu walked into his office. An overseas investment firm is participating in OFO Bike's new funding round. I've already spoken with them. Should we sell our second batch of shares to them as well? We can't. Then we'll have at least $75 million coming in. Also, the movie we invested in is about to be released. Wyatt smiled slightly. I know. On July 27th, the long-awaited Section 8 finally hit theaters. In just one day, its box office gross exceeded $9.9 million, a result that surprised everyone. But only Wyatt knew this was just the beginning. If the final box office was anything like he remembered, their investment would yield a return of around $45 million. Over at Arc Interactive, after Leo had Dexter post the prize announcement, the platform's downloads saw another massive surge. The number of concurrent players also surpassed 200,000. That day at 11:30 a.m., while having a rice bowl with Chloe, Wyatt suddenly received a message from Riley. Wyatt, my aunt and I are almost there. Wyatt read the message and immediately replied. Almost where? New York City. Wyatt sent a voice message. Didn't we agree I'd come back to Riverwood to pick you up? Why did you guys come by yourselves? What's going on? How long until you arrive? Riley sent a tongue-out emoji, then replied, about 20 minutes. Chloe frowned. Your mom is coming to New York? Yep. Wyatt shook his head in resignation. She didn't even give me a heads up, just decided to come. I have to go to the station to pick them up now. Do you want to come with me? Or should I drop you back at the hotel? Of course I'm coming with you. Wyatt grabbed a napkin, wiped his mouth, and seeing Chloe stand up, he folded the napkin and gently wiped her mouth as well. Then he took her hand, and they hurried out. Sarah hadn't left their city in nearly 8 years. Stepping off the Amtrak train at Penn Station, she was completely overwhelmed by the sea of people and the unfamiliar surroundings. If Riley hadn't been there to guide her, she wouldn't have known which way to go. Riley, has your cousin replied? He's definitely on his way. We should have asked him where he was staying when we were still at home. That way he wouldn't have to drive all the way here in the middle of the day. It's fine, Aunt Sarah. Wyatt will probably be here soon. They followed the crowd out of the station. Once outside, Riley took out her phone, about to ask Wyatt where he was. But thinking he might be driving, she found Chloe in her contacts instead and sent a quick message. Chloe, my aunt, and I are out of the station. Chloe saw the message and replied immediately. We're 5 minutes away. Riley, take your aunt to the curb. Your cousin says he can't park there for long. Okay. Riley quickly led Sarah to the curb. 5 minutes later, an Audi A8 pulled up in front of them. Chloe quickly got out of the car, called out, Aunt Sarah, and went to open the trunk, putting their luggage inside. Riley helped Sarah into the back seat. Once Chloe was back in the car, Wyatt stepped on the gas and drove away. Mom, what were you thinking? Coming here just like that, without any warning? Sarah had her reasons. I was afraid you were busy. What if you got lost? How would I explain that to Dad? I'm not a 3-year-old. Where is Dad? He didn't come. He wouldn't want to. He's obsessed with fishing lately. Drives out early every morning. I'm like a widow at home. Wyatt didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Riley leaned forward, her hands on the headrests of the front seats. Wyatt, where are we staying? The place is all arranged. Wyatt turned to Chloe. I'm going to YW this afternoon. You stay at the hotel. Have the front desk send up 2 sets of toiletries. If you need a car, just tell the front desk. The hotel will arrange a driver for you. Okay, it's Friday, and I still have things to do this afternoon. You guys just stay at the hotel if you don't have other plans. I'll take you out tomorrow. You go do your thing. The car pulled up in front of the hotel. A doorman saw them and jogged over, greeting them politely. Good afternoon, Mr. Wyatt. Don't move the car. I'll be leaving again in a minute. Very good, sir. There are 2 suitcases in the trunk. Could you help with those? No problem. The doorman quickly retrieved the luggage. After a few more instructions from Wyatt, Chloe led Sarah and Riley into the hotel lobby. They took the elevator to the top floor and opened the door to the room Mandy had been staying in. Sarah peeked inside. Once the doorman left, she quickly grabbed Chloe's hand and whispered, "A night here must be very expensive, right?" "I don't know. You and Wyatt aren't staying here. We're right next door." "Then how can you not know?" Sarah pressed. Chloe explained, "This hotel is owned by a friend of Wyatt's family. We don't have to pay to stay here. Not a single cent. No." Having been a working-class woman for over 20 years, Sarah could never have imagined that one day she would be staying in such a luxurious hotel for free, all thanks to her son's connections. She looked around the room, even taking a video to send to David, not forgetting to add a 60-second voice message that was dripping with pride. After arriving at YW, Wyatt began his usual routine. After dealing with the documents on his desk, he heard the live stream starting in the adjacent room. He got up, grabbed the glass of ice water Pam had prepared for him, and walked in the studio to watch. After a period of adjustment and learning, Ashley and Sophie were gradually getting used to the job. But the live stream's popularity hadn't grown. Whether it was day or night, the number of viewers was always stuck between 30 and 50. Wyatt watched for a while and decided it was time to teach them a thing or two. That evening, after their stream ended, he went back into the studio and stopped them from packing up. "All right, everyone, I have a few things to say. Listen up. Our company's live streaming venture is just starting out. So far, development has been smooth. But I've noticed that when you stream, your sales pitches are too old-fashioned, and there's almost no interaction between the hosts, the operators, and the chat. So now, I'm going to teach you a few tricks. Live streaming sales isn't just about introducing products in the studio. First, you have to capture the weaknesses of human nature. You have to get people, or, in other words, traffic, to stay in your live stream. So how do you get people to stay? It's simple. Wyatt held up 2 fingers. 2 strategies. The first is to appeal to people's love of a bargain. The second is hunger marketing. How do we implement this? First, the operations team needs to set up a benefit. Whether it's a discount, a buy one, get one, whatever. The point is, they need to know that buying from our stream today is a deal, cheaper than a normal purchase. You need to remind them of this periodically. The basic script is, all you lovely people, you can grab the coupon in the top left corner. If you place an order in the stream today, you can save X amount of dollars. Or you can say, the company is having a promotion today. If you do X, you can get a discount and free shipping insurance. If you're not satisfied, you can return it directly. That's the basic strategy. As for the hunger marketing I mentioned, that's simple too. It's about creating a sense of, if I don't buy it today, I'll miss out by using limited quantities. There are many ways to do this. I'll give you the most common one. For example, say we have 50 people in our stream right now. When you introduce a new product, you can say, our stock is limited. If you don't get it today, you might have to wait a long time. If you want one, type one in the chat, and I'll have the backend team count the number of people. Then, based on that number, you release the corresponding amount of stock. In reality, even if we release a lot of stock, the number of people who buy will still be the same. The reason we do this is to create a flash sale atmosphere. You understand what I mean, right? The dozen or so pairs of eyes in the studio were wide. They had never imagined that Wyatt would know so much. 2017 was arguably the first year of live streaming e-commerce. The tactics Wyatt described hadn't become widespread yet, which was why everyone in the room was so astonished. Also, you on the operations side, don't just stare at the computer screen. When the host is talking, you can chime in to reinforce their words. For example, you can call out things like counting down in 3, link is going live, instant pay gets free shipping insurance. What you see is what you get. You can shout these out at the appropriate times. All right, that's all I have to say. When you come back next week, you'll stream using the methods I've taught you. Understand? Understood. Wyatt nodded. His work done, he left the studio with a flourish, cool as a cucumber. Wyatt took Ashley and Sophie back to the hotel. Ashley was originally supposed to be sharing a suite with Mandy, but now that Sarah and Riley were visiting, Wyatt planned to pay for a separate room for her. He didn't want to bother Victor for such a small thing. But just as Wyatt pulled out his phone to pay, the front desk clerk smiled. No need, sir. Our manager has already taken care of it. Wyatt wasn't surprised. All right, thanks. Summer was the off-season for hotels in New York City, so they were never fully booked. With a heads up from Victor, the hotel manager was naturally eager to please. It wasn't just one extra room. He would have opened 10 without a second thought. From the manager's perspective, keeping Wyatt happy, maybe earning a good word from him to Victor, was worth more than 100 sold-out nights. The three of them stepped into the elevator. Wyatt, can I ask you something? Ashley said. Go ahead. All that stuff you were saying at the office. Where did you learn it? You sound so experienced. Sophie immediately chimed in. I was thinking the same thing. Wyatt laughed. Who would I learn from? I just make it up as I go. Incredible. Ashley sighed. No wonder you're so successful. With a brain like yours, who else would be? All right, you two can stop with the flattery, Wyatt said. You've got tomorrow off, and my mom's here. Go get cleaned up. I'm taking everyone out for dinner tonight. Sophie pulled out her phone and sent a quick text to Leo, who replied almost instantly. I might have to work late. Why don't you guys go ahead without me? She typed back a simple, okay. Ashley, glancing over her shoulder at the chat, frowned. Wyatt, what did you assign Leo? How's he this busy? He's working overtime every single night. Better to work hard for a little while than to struggle your whole life, Wyatt said, his tone matter of fact. Some people would rather suffer forever than put in the effort when they're young. He then turned to Sophie. You have to understand him. Sophie looked down, a little embarrassed. Of course, I understand. After about 15 minutes at the hotel, Wyatt led the group downstairs to find a restaurant. At the dinner table, surrounded by the lively chatter of the girls, Sarah was beaming. The last time she'd been this happy was the day Wyatt brought Chloe home to meet her. The next day was Saturday. Normally, Wyatt would sleep in until past 9, recovering from the long week. But today he was up early. He took Chloe, Sarah, Mandy, and Riley down to the hotel's restaurant for breakfast, and then they all piled into the car and drove to the new house. The renovations were complete, right down to the pool in the yard. It was still empty, waiting to be filled. In a corner of the yard, just as planned, was a small rock garden with a koi pond. It wasn't large, but it added a touch of elegant tranquility. Wyatt found a key and opened the front door. Riley and Mandy shot past him like cannonballs. Oh my God, this is gorgeous, they shouted in unison. Riley, look, there's a pool. Sarah, who hadn't seen any pictures of the new house, was just as stunned as she walked in from the outside. The design alone had cost a small fortune. On the final day, the designer had given Wyatt a full tour, explaining the creative choices and offering suggestions for furnishings. The result was a cohesive, exquisitely detailed home. Son, this renovation must have cost a lot, didn't it? It was okay. Wyatt didn't dare tell her the real price. The renovation budget alone could have bought 2 houses back in Riverwood. He was afraid she'd worry, so he just brushed it off. Chloe linked her arm through Sarah's. Aunt Sarah, let's go look inside. Okay. The front door had a smart lock that opened automatically as Chloe approached. The large furniture was already in place, leaving only the smaller appliances to be added later. Chloe led Sarah on a tour, starting from the first floor and then heading upstairs. Wyatt stayed behind, opening all the windows on the ground floor to air the place out. He had imagined his mother and fiancé would have a lovely chat upstairs. He hadn't expected Chloe to immediately start tattling on him. She told Sarah how he'd hop out of the shower, not even bother to dry off, and flop on a bed, still dripping. How on weekends, he achieved a state of near-total inertia, preferring to lie down over sitting and sit over standing. How he devoured his food like he was in a military mess hall, a bowl of rice gone in a few bites, despite her repeated warnings that it was bad for his stomach. Chloe rattled off a long list of Wyatt's bad habits. Sarah just patted her hand, her face full of affection. Don't worry, I'll take care of him for you. If he doesn't change, you call me. I'll skin him alive. Sure enough, at lunch that day, Sarah brought it all up. Wyatt's head snapped up, his eyes locking on Chloe. He knew. It had to be her. Chloe guiltily lowered her head. Before Wyatt could say a word, Sarah smacked him on the back of the head. What are you looking at? I'm warning you. If you pick up as many bad habits as your father, I will beat you senseless. Wyatt meekly lowered his head, not daring to make a sound. So what if he was a multimillionaire? In front of his mother, he had no right to speak. Mom, stop, please. I'll change, all right? Can I just change? Say a little less, eat a little more. Don't just say it. Chloe is only looking out for you. I know. Spotting Mandy grinning from ear to ear, Wyatt reached over and pinched her ear. What are you laughing at? Feeling rebellious. Aunt Sarah. Mandy was a master actress, her voice trembling with manufactured hurt. She hadn't even gotten the rest of her sentence out before Wyatt earned another smack. Wyatt, usually the most talkative one at the table, was rendered completely mute. He just silently shot Chloe a look that clearly said, "So, you're a tattletale, huh? Just you wait." Chloe wasn't intimidated at all. She just smiled sweetly and placed a piece of food on Sarah's plate. That evening, back at the hotel, the moment the door clicked shut, Wyatt scooped Chloe up into his arms. "It's my mom's second day here, and you're already reporting me?" he grumbled, his voice a mix of indignation and amusement. "Your mom is right next door. I'm telling you, don't you dare try anything. Go on, call her over. I dare you." With that, Wyatt tossed her onto the bed and began to unbutton his shirt, one button at a time. Sensing trouble, Chloe scrambled toward the headboard, but Wyatt's hand shot out and grabbed her by the ankle. She looked up at him, her bravado instantly melting away. "Maybe we could turn the TV on first," she squeaked. This was Sarah's first time in New York City. On Saturday morning, Wyatt took her to see the new house, and in the afternoon, they walked along the Brooklyn Bridge Park waterfront and took pictures with the Empire State Building in the background. The next day, he took her for a tour of his university campus. By coincidence, it seemed there was a leadership meeting happening that day. Just as Wyatt and Sarah were finishing their tour and about to leave, a group of university administrators emerged from the main administration building near the library. Wyatt didn't recognize most of them, but the man at the front, the university president, he recognized immediately. "President Yang," Wyatt called out. President Yang Chow spotted Wyatt and walked over, a smile on his face. "Wyatt, what brings you to campus today?" "My mom's visiting, so I'm showing her around," Wyatt replied with a matching smile. President Yang quickly shook Sarah's hand. She was starstruck, immediately asking how her little Wyatt was doing in school. Before President Yang could even begin his praise, the dean of the business school chimed in, showering Wyatt with compliments that left Sarah beaming with pride. Wyatt was fairly certain that telling his mom he'd earned $1 million this year wouldn't have made her half as happy as a professor telling her he'd gotten a perfect score on a final exam. On the ride back, Sarah laid out her plans. "I'll stay here for another 4 or 5 days. Then I'll head to Philadelphia to see your second aunt. I'll leave Riley with you. I'll decide later whether to come straight home or come back here to pick her up." "I'm not coming home this month," Wyatt said, "but I'll definitely be back next month. My father-in-law messaged me yesterday, asking if I was busy." I know what he was really asking. If I had time to bring Chloe home for a visit. "You should just go straight back to Riverwood from Philly. Don't worry about Riley. Mandy and I will bring her home next month." "Your aunt was so good to you when you were little," Sarah reminded him. "You need to be good to Mandy, too." "Mom, you make it sound like I abuse her." "Mandy, stop playing dumb. Tell her yourself. How do I treat you?" Mandy replied, "He's okay." Wyatt's head whipped around. "What do you mean, okay? You're a two-faced little chameleon, aren't you? Fine. Don't expect me to take you shopping for the rest of the year." Mandy immediately changed her tune. "Aunt Sarah, actually, my cousin is really good to me." Wyatt rolled his eyes, not bothering to listen to her fabricated praise. Alex was from New York, and though his family lived in the suburbs, a drive down the highway into the city didn't take long. The day after returning home for the summer, he'd driven his dad's car to see Renee. His excuse was that he was bored and wanted someone to talk to, but his intentions were transparent to everyone, including Renee's 2 young employees. They just played along out of respect for their boss. Alex made himself useful at the shop. He'd help unload deliveries and run errands to ship out packages. After half a month, he knew the inventory inside and out and would even help with customers during busy periods. One afternoon, a man in his early 30s walked in. Despite the sweltering summer heat, he was dressed in a long-sleeved shirt and black dress pants, exuding the air of a business elite. The 2 clerks exchanged a look, and one stepped forward. "Hello, welcome. Can I help?" Before she could finish, the man smiled. "Is your boss not in?" She's in the restroom." "Oh, that's fine. I'm a friend of hers. You could go back to what you were doing." The clerk nodded and returned to the counter. But Alex, who had been laughing and joking with them just a moment before, felt the smile drain from his face the instant he heard the words, "I'm a friend of hers." A couple of minutes later, Renee emerged from the back. Her brow furrowed for a second when she saw the man, but then she walked over. "Gregory, what are you doing here?" Gregory Yin stood up, turning to her with a smile. "I heard your family opened a new branch in the city and that you came with it. I'm here on a business trip, so I thought I had to stop by and see you." Renee gave one of her clerks a look, and the girl quickly brought over 2 cups of tea, placing them on the small table in the reception area. Renee neatly arranged her skirt and sat down. Gregory sat down across from her. "How have you been?" "Good. I see there are a couple of other jewelry stores on the street. The competition must be fierce." "It's fine. My shop focuses on pearl jewelry, so we're different from them." "How's your dad doing?" "He's all right. His health has declined a bit in the last couple of years." "Has he been to the doctor?" Of course. The doctor said he worked too hard when he was younger, and a lot of underlying issues are just starting to surface now that he's older. Yeah, that's what happens when you get older. Seeing that Renee wasn't continuing the conversation, Gregory quickly changed the subject. So how about it? Want to get dinner tonight? I don't think I can tonight. I have a dinner meeting with a very important friend. A very important friend? A high-level executive from YW. I'm one of their suppliers now. Is that so? Gregory sighed, looking genuinely disappointed. All right then. I come to New York on business all the time. We'll do it next time. Renee gave a soft nod. Gregory stayed for about half an hour before leaving. Not long after he was gone, Alex quietly got in his car and drove away. That night, Alex tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. He felt a tightness in his chest, a frustration with no outlet. No matter how hard he tried to distract himself, the image of Gregory and Renee chatting that afternoon kept replaying in his mind. He had agonized for weeks before deciding to visit Renee at her shop for the summer. He thought he had finally taken the first step, but now it felt like it was over before it had even begun. Yeah, right? She comes from such a wealthy family. How could I ever be good enough for her? Alex picked up his phone and, with a bitter smile, sent a message to Wyatt. Wyatt, don't mention me in front of Renee anymore. We're not right for each other. Wyatt, completely baffled, replied instantly. Dude, are you having one of your episodes again? Alex, I'm really not good enough for her. Wyatt, what happened now? Alex was too embarrassed to explain the details, but Wyatt pieced together the general situation. Wyatt replied, So some guy shows up and you just give up? Alex, have some self-respect. If it were me, I'd at least go down swinging and find out for sure. Alex stared at the message, a jolt going through him. Wyatt was right. The worst that could happen was rejection. Why not at least ask? Taking a deep breath, he opened his chat with Renee. He hesitated for a moment before typing. Still busy? Renee, just got off work. Alex was about to type more when another message from her came through. Can I ask you something? Do you have a crush on someone? Alex's brow furrowed. He typed back weakly, yeah, but I don't know if she likes me back. Alex, what about you? Alex, do you like someone? Or is someone pursuing you? Renee/laughing crying emoji/Renee. The line of guys chasing me could stretch from New York to Paris. Renee, aren't you going to pursue her? Alex's face burned as he typed. I might still be in line in Paris. Half a minute passed. Renee, so you want to cut the line? Renee, I'll let you. At 8:30 in the morning in New York City, the sun was already fierce. Inside the hotel room, where the air conditioning had been running all night, the temperature was a steady 78 degrees. Wyatt, shirtless, was still fast asleep on the bed. Chloe, wearing a thin robe, sat at the vanity, applying a light, natural makeup look. Seeing the time, she stood up and walked to the bed, gently nudging him. Get up. It's 8:30. You're going to be late. Wyatt rolled over, yawning. So what if I'm late? I'm the boss. Who's going to tell me off? If you're late, Mandy will be late too. Besides, don't you have your weekly meeting on Monday mornings? That got him. Wyatt slowly sat up. Seeing Chloe right there, he pulled her into his arms. Get off me. I just finished my makeup. Too late. His mouth was already on hers. Chloe quickly scrambled up to check the mirror, then unleashed a flurry of playful punches on his back. His morning ritual of mischief complete, Wyatt finally got up and went to the bathroom. The company meeting that day focused on two main topics. First, the pricing for the second round of OFO bike share transfers, and second, a project proposal from Investment Team 2 for a chain of snack shops. For most of the meeting, they did the talking while Wyatt listened. A good boss was like the engine of a train, responsible for setting the direction, while the departments were the fuel cars, providing the power from behind. After the meeting, Wyatt had just returned to his office when Chris came in with a USB drive. He plugged it into Wyatt's computer, bringing up the 3D renderings for the new office building. Focus on the first, second, third, and seventh floors. The others are pretty standard. Wyatt scrolled through the images. How many elevators? 6, plus a freight elevator. The freight one is mainly for deliveries and is much larger than the others. Is this the second floor cafeteria? Yep. This whole section is serving stations. Specialty foods on the left, standard entrees in the middle, and on the right, a halal station and 2 backup kitchens. What's at the front? We left 2 storefronts there. One for a juice bar, one for a coffee shop. Wyatt nodded, moving on to the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor is going to be the liveliest place in the building. Gym, pool tables, ping pong, you name it. The renderings, done by a professional commercial design firm, were comprehensive and impressive. Wyatt was very satisfied. And here, Chris said, clicking on another file, is your office. It's huge. Yeah, twice the size of your current one. And it's a full suite with a bedroom and a bathroom. You could sleep here if you didn't want to go home. That damn designer, Wyatt muttered, squinting at the screen. Why is the bedroom labeled secretary's quarters? Probably just an old template. They haven't updated it yet. Over at YW, the procurement issue had been fully resolved. The fabric factory, upon learning that the head of procurement had contacted their main competitor, not only reverted to the original price, but also offered a discount on bulk orders. The garment factory was now in full swing, preparing inventory. After last year's fashion show, the initial 4 collections had sold out in 2 weeks, and they had been struggling to keep up with demand ever since. To address this, Vivian had decided to double the production volume for the upcoming launch. With Vivian on leave, the matters of her sub-brand, YW, naturally fell to Wyatt. Around 3 in the afternoon, Hannah knocked and entered his office, placing 3 boxes of stockings on his desk. Wyatt was momentarily confused. What's this? YW previously sold a line of stockings bundled with their lingerie, Hannah explained. They got really good reviews. They were cheap, but good quality. So, the lady boss acquired the factory we were partnering with. These are the new samples they've produced. The lady boss always used to inspect new products herself. Since she's not here, they sent them to me, so I brought them for you to see. Wyatt picked up a box, broke the seal, and pulled out a pair of sheer nude stockings. I have no idea what I'm looking for. What makes a stocking good or bad? Hannah spoke like a seasoned expert. First, the feel. Good stockings are silky smooth, while bad ones feel grainy. Second, elasticity. A good pair will stretch and snap back into shape. A bad one will deform or snag easily. Third, breathability. Good ones are comfortable and feel nice against the skin. Bad ones can even slide down. But the most important thing, she paused for dramatic effect. What? Wyatt prompted, is how they look when they're being worn. The lady boss used to try them on herself. Wyatt shrugged. All right, I get it. You can get back to work. Should I take these? Hannah asked, gesturing to the boxes. Wyatt shook his head. Hannah didn't think anything of it and left the office. The second she was gone, Wyatt darted a look at the door, then furtively stuffed all 3 pairs of stockings, black, white, and gray, into his pockets. Chloe, who had been listening silently from the couch, had been watching his expression the whole time. Seeing his shifty move, she couldn't stay quiet any longer. What are you stuffing those in your pockets for? She demanded. Taking them home, Wyatt said innocently. To do what? To try them on. You going to wear them? Wyatt looked indignant. I'm not a pervert. I'm taking them home for you to wear. Chloe's face flushed crimson. She glanced at the door, then lowered her voice. I'm not wearing those. You heard her. Wyatt pressed on. The lady boss used to try them on. Now I'm the boss, so I need to see the effect. I need someone to model them. This is for the good of the company. Bullshit. You think I don't know you? Wyatt pulled the 3 pairs of stockings back out of his pocket and switched tactics. Fine. If you don't want to, forget it. I'll just take them home and ask Ashley and the girls to help me out. Can't be helped, right? You wouldn't dare. Chloe shot up, marched over, and snatched all 3 pairs, stuffing them in her own purse. Seeing his plan had succeeded, Wyatt grinned. Wouldn't dream of it. Chloe ignored him, sitting back down on the sofa. She pulled out her phone, and as she looked down at the screen, a beautiful, triumphant smile curved her lips. After staying in New York City for about a week, Sarah left for Philadelphia. Before she went, she gave Wyatt a long list of instructions and reminders. That evening, Wyatt was having dinner with Leo, who was glued to the TV in the restaurant. A new hit rap competition show was all the rage that summer, and while Leo couldn't sing to save his life, he seemed to have a real interest in rap. Wyatt, have you seen this show? Saw it a while ago, Wyatt said offhandedly. A while ago? Leo frowned. Didn't this show just come out this summer? I saw the first few episodes. Wyatt corrected himself smoothly. So who do you think is the best rapper? Leo pressed. The question made Wyatt think of the litany of instructions his mother had given him before she left for the station. He answered without hesitation, my mom. Leo rolled his eyes, dropping the subject. Sophie, sitting beside them, giggled. It's a good thing Aunt Sarah isn't here, or you'd be getting another smack. My mom only started hitting me after Chloe and I got together, Wyatt grumbled. When she's not around, my mom is perfectly nice to me. Chloe, sitting next to him, gave him a shove. Don't blame everything on me. Besides Sophie and Chloe, the 2 little shadows, Mandy and Riley, were also at the table. Riley mostly listened quietly, her tiger-like canine teeth flashing in an occasional smile. Mandy, on the other hand, was glued to her phone the entire meal. Wyatt finally had enough. He snatched the phone right out of her hand. Eat your food when you're eating. Stop playing on your phone. Hey, give that back. Who are you texting so furiously? Don't tell me it's that Jay. See, kid again. Give it back. As Wyatt angled the phone to see the screen, Mandy shot up from her seat to grab it back. He held it high in the air. She jumped and flailed for a good while, nearly resorting to biting him before she finally wrestled it away, leaving the whole table roaring with laughter. While Wyatt's group was out to dinner, Abby, Sam, and Rachel were also having a meal together. They used to always eat at home, but ever since Sam had been promoted to head of investment team too, his salary had shot up. Abby had gotten a raise too. Their financial situation was much better, so now they usually ate out. It was more convenient and offered more variety. Neither Sam nor Abby had officially announced their relationship, but it was obvious to a keen observer like Rachel. So when Abby had suggested dinner tonight, Rachel had initially refused, saying she didn't want to be a third wheel. It took a lot of coaxing from Abby to get her to come along. "We've got the day off after tomorrow," Abby said. "Want to go see a movie? The one our company invested in has been a huge hit, but we haven't even seen it ourselves." Sam chimed in, "Weekend tickets are really hard to get. Check now and see if there are any." Sam obediently pulled out his phone. Besides the morning shows, there are only seats left for the 8:30 p.m. screening, but it doesn't end until 10:30. Rachel immediately jumped in. "Then you two should go." "I'm out." "Why?" Rachel held up 2 fingers, laying out her case. 1, I don't want to be a third wheel anymore. And 2, the movie ends so late. If you two end up getting a hotel room afterward, what am I supposed to do by myself? Rachel, what? I'm not wrong. Abby's face turned bright red as she and Rachel started playfully shoving each other. Sam just sat across from them, watching with a gentle smile. After dinner, the 3 of them walked to the subway station. Abby and Rachel headed back to their apartment, while Sam returned to a budget inn not far from the office. The dorms were locked for the summer, so he and Chris had both found places to stay. Chris was at a hotel, but Sam chose the inn. It was cheaper, and for him, the basic amenities were more than enough. Spending double the money for a fancier room felt wasteful to someone as frugal as him. Back in his room, Sam took a shower. As he came out and was about to pick up the copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad on his nightstand, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the caller ID and answered. "Hello, Mom. Sam, have you eaten?" "Yeah, I was out with friends. Just got back." "How's work going?" "It's good. The house renovations are almost done. Your dad had someone install broadband, and a technician is coming tomorrow to set up the whatchamacallit. The router. Right, the router. After that, we won't have to go to the neighbors to borrow their Wi-Fi to video call you." "How's my little sister?" "She's right here." "Mom, let me talk to Carly for a minute." "Okay." Sam's mother handed the phone to his sister, Carly, who chirped, "Hi, brother." Sam smiled. "Did you get the snacks I sent home a few days ago?" "I did. They're all my favorites." "Carly, I'm going to buy you a phone. Once the internet is set up, you can use it to video chat with me. We're not allowed to have phones at school. You can use it at home. You still have a month of summer break left. You can use it to take online classes. I'm telling you, if you want to learn, you can find any course you want online. They're even better than the teachers at school. You tell Dad that." The phone was passed to Sam's father. "Don't you be wasting money. We use the money you sent to renovate the house. You should be saving for your own college expenses." "Dad, I told you I got a promotion. My salary is really high now. You don't have to worry about me." "Then save it for getting married. You don't have to worry about that either. You keep working hard for your boss. He's been so good to you. He's a true benefactor. We have to show our gratitude." "Dad, I know. After the router is set up tomorrow, I'll have someone send you a video of the renovated second floor. We'll buy the other stuff later. Just a bed is enough. It'll be your future marital room. We'll talk about that later. Maybe I'll buy my own house. If you meet a nice girl out there, you should try dating. You're a quiet person. You'll have a hard time finding a partner. Our standards aren't high. Just find a good wife you can build a steady life with." "Dad." Sam paused for a long moment, finally saying the words he'd been wanting to say for a long time. "I already have a girlfriend." July passed in a blur. Wyatt's days were a whirlwind of activity, a simple routine of home, office, and back again, broken only by the weekends. By mid-August, Wobbly Woes, the game that had started production at the same time as Mountain of Madness, was finally launched. Though the initial hype for Leapfrog and Flock Off had died down, Mountain of Madness had picked up the torch, and the platform's daily user count was already impressive. When Wobbly Woes went live, it spread like wildfire. A deep partnership with streaming platforms meant that top streamers were promoting it, and the game's popularity exploded at a staggering rate. Even Leo was shocked by how quickly it had blown up. One evening after work, Michael Zhao didn't go home. Instead, he holed up in his office, phone in hand, playing the newly released game. The real fun of the game was in the cooperative play, but whether by good luck or bad, Michael had been matched with a team of elementary school kids. And these kids were good. Their skills were leagues ahead of his. The result was a comical scene where a group of children spent the entire round flaming Michael for being terrible. He had never been so thoroughly roasted in his life, and he was powerless to stop it. They were just better than him, and he was dragging the team down. Scrub, go home and do your homework. Dude, how are you so bad? Next round, no randoms. They're all bots. Hearing the constant barrage of insult from the little kids in voice chat, Michael finally snapped. He unmuted his mic and let loose. You little punks, can you play a game without cursing someone out every 2 seconds? Didn't your teachers teach you any manners? I'm old enough to be your father, and you're telling me to do my homework? Have you even finished yours? Trash. Whatever, you're a total bot. An old man, like you shouldn't even be playing video games. You probably don't even have a girlfriend, do you? Michael was livid. You little brats, you think I can't get your accounts banned? Go ahead, do it. Yeah, right. Like you know the owner of the game company. My dad is Phil Spencer. Out-argued and outgunned, Michael rage quit the game. He immediately called Wyatt. Yo, finished for the day, Mr. CEO. Pretty much. What's up? You're buying me dinner. And why is that? You son of a bitch, Section 8 is crushing the box office, and your game platform is on fire. You've hit the jackpot this year. The least you can do is buy me a meal. Wyatt laughed. Fine. Send me the location. I'll head over. I still have to go pick up Her Highness. Don't be in a rush. I'll send you the address in a bit. Got it. After hanging up, Wyatt sent a message to Leo. Michael and I are grabbing drinks tonight. You in? Leo quickly replied. Text got a bug. I'm stuck here supervising. You guys go ahead. Wyatt then sent a voice message to Mandy, planning to have her take the subway a couple of stops back to the hotel. It wasn't far, but Carter Lou had just taken on a new project, and J.C. was staying late to work on it. With the office mostly empty, Mandy, who was usually too shy to talk to J.C., saw her chance. She replied quickly, I'm working overtime tonight. Wyatt immediately asked, what overtime? You're an intern. Don't worry about it. I'll get back on my own. Is J.C. there? No, he's not here. I'll just call him. He's here. I saw he drove to the office too. Wyatt dictated. When he's done, have him give you a ride back to the hotel. Mandy quickly replied, I can't ask him that. You can stare at him with your chin in your hands all day, but you can't ask him for a ride home at night. I do not. Wyatt didn't bother arguing. He had J.C.'s number and sent him a message directly. Mandy nearly died of embarrassment when J.C. looked up from his phone and, right in front of her, replied to Wyatt with a simple, okay. Wyatt had expected Michael to drag him to some ridiculously expensive restaurant. Instead, they ended up at a casual barbecue joint with a crawfish boil on the strip with all the food trucks. Michael had brought Isabel, and Wyatt had brought the other 3 from their dorm, Chloe, Sophie, and Ashley, plus Riley. As soon as they sat down, Isabel laughed. I remember freshman year, we all said we'd be working for you after graduation. I didn't think before we even graduated, you'd all actually be working for him. Ashley cackled. It's called speaking it into existence. Michael, sitting beside her, looked on with envy. Who could have predicted that in just 2 or 3 years, this guy would turn a small workshop into a massive investment firm? I did some rough calculations. Not even counting YW, your C. Investments plus the new ARC Interactive. The valuation has to be in the tens of billions by now. And the craziest part is you own both of them outright. You've got that wrong, Wyatt said. When I started the company, I borrowed money from my mother-in-law. We agreed from the start. Chloe gets 10% of C. Investments. Chloe looked at him, completely bewildered. Since when? Since you're a dork, Wyatt laughed. The contract's been signed for ages. You just didn't know. Chloe smacked him on the arm. You're the dork. As they were joking, the owner brought over 2 platters of skewers, 1 spicy and 1 mild to accommodate everyone's tastes. Not long after, a massive platter of crawfish arrived, a mix of different flavors that made everyone's mouth water. Dig in, Michael announced. If it's not enough, we'll order more. From now on, whenever we eat out, Wyatt's buying. You wish. The climate back in Riverwood was perfect for raising crawfish. During peak season, they were as cheap as $2 a pound. But here, they were over 15. Wyatt had spent his childhood summers catching crawfish in the creeks, so he knew exactly how to eat them. Chloe, however, barely touched them. She rarely ate at street-side stalls, and Miranda had always considered crawfish unclean, so she never cooked them. While everyone else was digging in, their faces slick with oil, Chloe was at a loss. Wyatt noticed. He put down his skewer, picked up a crawfish, and expertly peeled it, holding the tail meat up to her lips. A smile spread across Chloe's face as she opened her mouth and ate it. How is it? Delicious. I want more. So Wyatt continued to peel crawfish for her. Isabel, sitting across from them, saw this and turned to Michael. You peel one for me, too. Don't you have hands? The words were barely out of his mouth before Isabel thrust her greasy hands forward and pinched his cheeks. Say that again. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Your Highness, spare me. The table erupted in laughter. August 20th. There were less than 10 days until the start of the high school semester. Wyatt planned to head back to Riverwood the next day. On the way home from work, he told Riley to pack her things so they could take the train together in the morning. Back at the hotel, Riley obediently started packing. When she had arrived, her suitcase was less than half full. After a month in New York, it was now bursting at the seams. Most of it was clothes Chloe had bought her on her shopping trips, along with a few stuffed animals won from claw machines. Mandy, helping her pack, asked, Riley, are my cousin and Chloe going back with you? Yeah. When are they coming back? Riley shook her head. I don't know. Seeing the look on Mandy's face, Riley asked slyly, are you hoping Wyatt stays in Riverwood a little longer so you and that Jay can have some alone time? Mandy shrieked, her shoe flying off as she lunged. She tackled Riley, tickling her mercilessly. Oh, so now you're making fun of me, are you? Riley was incredibly ticklish and soon collapsed into a helpless, giggling heap on the floor. Just then, Wyatt walked in. Seeing the scene, he sighed, placed 2 bottles of milk on the table, and said, drink these and get to bed early. Mandy immediately stood up straight. Riley scrambled up from the floor. Wyatt shot them both a look, then turned and left. The next day, after a long morning on the train, the 3 of them finally arrived in Riverwood. Sarah, who was enjoying her time off at home, had prepared a huge feast. After lunch, Wyatt drove Riley home. His aunt and uncle were both there, thrilled to see their daughter safely returned. In her month away, Riley hadn't gotten tanner. If anything, she seemed fairer. It was clear she'd had a good time in the city. Wyatt and Chloe stayed for a while. They learned that Riley had been accepted into Riverwood High's honors program even before the official entrance exams. Her final scores had placed her second in the entire middle school, guaranteeing her a spot in the top class. Well, Wyatt laughed, looks like our family finally produced someone who's actually good at studying. His own admission to a top business school had been a fluke of rebirth. Mandy had gotten into NYU Tisch because of her artistic talent. Her academic scores had barely scraped by, and Mandy's younger brother's grades were average at best. Among the younger generation, Riley was the only one who had been a star student from the beginning, and most importantly, her parents barely had a supervisor. She was entirely self-motivated. Wyatt used to believe the nonsense that anyone could get good grades if they just work hard enough. Now he knew that, when it came to academics, talent was a huge factor, a talent that was likely genetic. If your parents were Ivy Leaguers, getting into a good state school wasn't hard. If your parents had bachelor's degrees, getting into that same school with effort was doable. But if your parents hadn't gone to college, you'd have to work twice or even several times as hard to get to the same place. Of course, it wasn't a hard and fast rule, just a matter of probability. Should we go to your place now? Wyatt asked as they got back into the car after leaving his aunt's house. Sure, Chloe said, but my mom doesn't get back until tonight, and my dad's still at the bank. Want to just go to the bank and see your dad? What for? We barely come home during the year. I've given your mom a few gifts, but I don't think I've ever gotten anything for your dad. Chloe felt a pang of guilt, but still said stubbornly, he doesn't need anything. Your dad is just as stubborn as you are. If you ask him what he wants, he'll say he doesn't need a thing. But if you give him something, no matter what it is, he'll be thrilled. Not like my dad, who's hitting me up for gas money every other week. Chloe thought for a moment. So, should we go buy something now? Wyatt smiled. Remember that belt you gave me for our anniversary this year? I haven't used it yet. Why don't we give it to your dad? Then you give it to him. It's better coming from you. You do it. All right, fine. I'll do it. Wyatt drove to the parking lot next to the bank, a route he knew by heart. After they got out, he retrieved the still unopened belt box from the trunk, and they walked hand in hand into the bank. Hello, how may I help you? No assistance needed. Chloe started to lead Wyatt toward the stairs, but a staff member quickly stopped them. I'm sorry, Before she could finish, Wyatt smiled at her. Her father is Charles Evans. The staff member blinked, then her face lit up with recognition. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm new here. No problem. They went upstairs to the bank president's office. Wyatt was about to knock, but Chloe just pushed the door open and walked in. Charles looked up, confused, his first reaction one of pure bewilderment. What are you two doing here? We were just in the neighborhood, Wyatt said with a grin. Have you eaten? At my place. Charles glanced at the time. I've still got 3 hours of work left. You two go on home. I have to pick up your mom later. Chloe handed her purse to Wyatt, whispered, I'm going to the restroom, and walked out. Wyatt knew this was her deliberate exit. He stepped forward, took the belt out of her purse, and held it out to Charles. Uncle, Chloe bought this for you. She was too shy to give it to you herself, so... Charles's eyes lit up. He still asked, just to be sure, she bought this for me? Yes. Wyatt nodded. Seeing Charles trying to suppress his joy, he turned and left the office. The second Wyatt closed the door, Charles tore open the packaging. After peeling off the protective film, he held up the belt. He examined it for a long time, like it was a precious treasure. Finally, he stood up, unbuckled his old, worn belt, and replaced it with a brand new one. For the rest of the afternoon, Charles was in a fantastic mood. After work, he drove to the train station to pick up Miranda, who was returning from Philadelphia. The moment she got in the car, he pointed to his waist. Look at this. Look at what? New belt. Which woman gave you that? Miranda teased. What are you talking about? Charles said, exasperated. My daughter bought it for me. Your daughter? Yes. Charles was grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. Miranda just smiled, thinking to herself, I bet that was Wyatt's idea. Wyatt didn't plan on staying in Riverwood for long. Things in New York were just too busy. Today was Friday, and with the weekend ahead, he decided they would head back to the city after lunch on Monday. That way, they'd only miss 2 workdays. After dinner at Maple Creek Estates, Wyatt spent the evening watching Ashley and Sophie's livestream. Since his coaching, their viewer count had clearly improved. Now, whenever he tuned in, they consistently had 400 to 500 people watching. For this early stage, that was an excellent result. 20 days into the month, their sales had already surpassed $30,000. With a little more effort, they might even break $60,000. Vivian had been keeping an eye on the live stream as well. At first, seeing the low traffic, she hadn't had high hopes. But after Ashley and Sophie changed their style and the numbers started climbing, she saw a glimmer of hope. She called Hannah and found out that Wyatt had given them a masterclass, which was what led to their new, successful approach. The next day, with nothing else to do, Wyatt decided to teach Chloe how to drive. She had gotten her license at the same driving school as Ashley, but a license and actual driving were 2 different things. She'd been too nervous to get on the road. The traffic in New York was a nightmare, and Wyatt wouldn't dare let her practice there. But Riverwood was different. As long as they avoided the main city center, on a non-holiday, there were plenty of empty country roads. Wyatt pulled his dad's Audi A6 up to the villa's entrance and called Chloe out. She came running out and hopped in the car. Where are we going? Driving practice. Practice? Yeah, you got your license a while ago, right? We've got some free time, so we'll find a quiet road and get you some practice. Chloe looked nervous. I don't dare. Then how did you pass your test? The test was easy. I have an automatic-only license. The instructor just tells you the reference points, and you just turn the wheel when he says, It's fine, Wyatt said. It's not as hard as you think. Besides, I'm right here next to you. All right. Leaving their neighborhood, Wyatt navigated to a deserted road that ran alongside a lake. After parking, they switched places. The moment Chloe got into the driver's seat, she began adjusting the seat and mirrors, just as her instructor had taught her. She moved the seat forward, then raised it, then held her arms straight out to the steering wheel. If her wrists rested on top of the wheel, the distance was perfect. Too close, and turning would be awkward. Too far, and she wouldn't be able to reach. This preparation alone took her a good 5 minutes. Seeing her adjust the seat so far forward, Wyatt couldn't help but laugh. Are you trying to breastfeed the steering wheel? Hearing a series of solid thumps for that one. This gear shift, it's different from the driving school car. How is it different? The one at the school was like this, but this one is like this. Chloe gestured with her hands. Wyatt chuckled. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just look at the letters. P is for park, R is for reverse, N is for neutral, D is for drive. Where's the parking brake? This button here. Push it down. Okay, I'm starting. All right. No rush. Take your time. We got all day. Chloe pressed the ignition, put the car in drive, released the parking brake, and slowly let her foot off the brake pedal. The car had barely moved an inch before she slammed the brake back down. What are you doing? Wyatt asked, confused. Why did it start moving on its own as soon as I let go of the brake? The car is supposed to move when you let go of the brake. Don't be scared. You're going slower than someone walking. Chloe tried again. This time, she finally got the car moving, her speed hovering between 15 and 20 miles per hour before inching up to 30. Don't grip the steering wheel so tight. The tighter you hold it, the more tired you'll get. Lighter on the brake. Remember to use your turn signal when you change lanes. I did. You just turn on the windshield wipers. The turn signal is on the left. Up for right, down for left. A little faster. I'm already going fast. The old guy on the tricycle next to us is faster than you. After a full morning of practice, Chloe finally got the hang of it. During lunch back at home, she proudly announced to Miranda and Charles that she now knew how to drive. You still got a long way to go, Wyatt thought to himself. But Charles was incredibly supportive. In that case, you should check out some cars online. Whichever one you like, Dad will buy it for you. A belt in exchange for a car. Wyatt thought, this is a fantastic deal. Chloe didn't hold back. Then I want one with wings on the hood. Wings on the hood. Wyatt bit back a smile. She means a Bentley. Charles's smile instantly vanished. A Bentley was a luxury car. Even with an income that surpassed 98% of the country, buying one was no small feat. Miranda laughed. Even if your dad could afford a Bentley, it would clean out his savings. Why don't? She was about to say, why don't I buy it for you? But Wyatt quickly cut her off. She's still a beginner. Once she gets more experienced, I'll buy her one next summer. You mean it? Of course. Chloe immediately stuck out her pinky finger. Pinky swear. Aren't you a little old for that? Hurry up. Wyatt sighed and hooked his pinky with hers. Chloe wasn't concerned with the model or the price. She just loved the idea of driving a car, and when someone asked who bought it for her, being able to say proudly, my boyfriend gave it to me. Miranda placed a piece of meat on Wyatt's plate. How's the company doing lately? It's fine, Chloe answered for him. He's so busy now. He spends the mornings at his own company and the afternoons helping the lady boss manage YW. Where did Vivian go? Oh, she's pregnant, Wyatt explained. It's really not that bad. It was tiring at first, but once things were sorted out, it's been fine. There's just a lot to keep track of. Charles asked, what's your company's valuation now? That OFO bikes project you invested in has even made it to Riverwood. Probably in the tens of billions by now, but valuation is just on paper. This year has been lucky. That hit movie in theaters right now. Our company backed it. And I started a game company from scratch that's also taken off. Good, Charles said nonchalantly, then went back to eating. But in his mind, he was already planning his comeback for the next time a business partner tried to flaunt their wealth in front of him. My son-in-law is the founder of C. Investments. What are we doing this afternoon? Wyatt put down his chopsticks and yawned. On Nup first, then a swim when we wake up, and maybe some more driving practice at sunset. Okay. Wyatt headed upstairs. Chloe was about to help clear the table, but the moment she picked up 2 bowls, Miranda took them from her, giving her a pointed look. You go on up. Let your dad handle the dishes. Oh. Wearing a pair of yellow slide sandals, Chloe went clattering up the stairs. After returning to New York City from Riverwood on Monday, the summer break was basically over. The semester started on September 1 SD. Wyatt dropped Chloe and the others off at their respective schools the day before. Leo, having already completed all his required credits, would report to school and then continue working full-time. On the way to campus, Sophie and Ashley, after much hesitation, finally asked, Wyatt, our senior year schedule is really light. Can we keep working at YW? Wyatt's answer was of course yes. Ashley and Sophie had been instrumental in getting the live stream's viewership up to 500 or 600. Though they had no prior experience, they were quick learners. With only a few classes a week in their senior year, there was no reason for Wyatt to give their jobs to someone else. The next day, Wyatt received a picture from Chloe, her class schedule for the semester. It was incredibly light. Only 6 classes a week, most of them non-essentials like music analysis, the psychology of musical aesthetics, and traditional music theory. The classes were almost all in the morning, and she had all of Friday off. Wyatt replied to the picture. For the first 2 weeks, just go to your classes as normal. If you notice the other students aren't really showing up, I'll come get you. Chloe, are we still staying at the hotel? Wyatt, nope. We're moving into our new house. Chloe, okay. Chloe/heart emoji/. Wyatt had a packed September. His own company was busy, but the main event was YW's new collection launch, which was scheduled for fall break. That meant everything had to be locked down in September. On Monday, the 4th, Wyatt arrived at YW in the afternoon and convened the monthly meeting. Once all the department heads were assembled, he laid out the month's tasks. I'll repeat this one more time. By the 10th, the venue needs to be booked. By the 15th, the modeling agency needs to be finalized. By the 20th, the event plan and model selections must be set. By the 25th, the stage production company needs to have the set ready. On the 29th, first rehearsal. On the 30th, second rehearsal. Any questions? None. Jenna Jiang, the head of marketing, spoke up. Mr. Wyatt, Vivian's original plan was to select a brand ambassador for us before the new launch. That matter. Is there a shortlist? Not yet. Wyatt thought for a moment. Get in touch with Blake Lively's agent. Blake Lively? But we don't even have her contact information. Isn't it too late to reach out now? Forget it. Don't worry about it. I'll call her myself. Jenna Jiang nodded immediately. She didn't doubt for a second that Wyatt had those kinds of connections. After the meeting, Wyatt went back to his office and sent a message to Judy. Judy, you busy? Judy, watching TV with my sister-in-law. Spit it out. Wyatt, YW needs a brand ambassador. You know Blake Lively, right? She helped promote my game a while back. I was thinking, since we need someone, it might as well be her. Could you reach out and see what she thinks? Judy. That's it. Wyatt. That's it. Judy, wait. Wyatt smiled, put down his phone, and got back to work. Half an hour later, Judy sent him Blake Lively's agent's number, followed by another message. She's in. You can talk to her about the details yourself. Wyatt replied with an okay. Just as he was about to make the call, he got a text from an unknown number. It was her agent reaching out proactively. In the entertainment world, someone of Blake Lively's stature had people fawning over her. But between her and Wyatt, if anyone was going to be doing the fawning, it was her. She had already found out that Wyatt was the behind-the-scenes investor of that summer's record-breaking blockbuster. That meant he not only had powerful connections in the business world, but was also building a significant presence in the film industry. As an actress working in both film and television, she wasn't about to miss the chance to connect with someone like him. Besides, endorsing a domestic fashion brand was a win-win situation for any celebrity. Wyatt spoke with her agent for about 20 minutes. In the end, they not only agreed on a very reasonable endorsement fee, but Blake also promised to make an appearance on stage during the YW launch event. They sealed the deal, both parties very pleased. Over at Arc Interactive, Wobbly Woes was still being updated at a breakneck pace, with a new level released every 10 days. The platform's registered users had surpassed 1 million without anyone really noticing. While it couldn't compare to the hit games from giants like Microsoft, Sony, or MiHoYo, it had definitely carved out a niche in the industry. What Wyatt didn't know was that before Wobbly Woes had even launched, Microsoft had been planning to create a competing product to go head-to-head with Arc Interactive. But Wyatt's rapid game updates, culminating in the launch of Wobbly Woes, had caught them completely off guard. Now, their interactive entertainment division was debating whether to continue investing in their own project or just acquire Arc Interactive outright. They were at a standstill. Leo had gradually adapted to the company's rhythm. It was exhausting, but for him, it was incredibly fulfilling. He now had a fixed daily routine. Wake up at 7:30, drop Sophie off at school, go to the office, work until 9:30 at night, then head over to YW's office to pick Sophie up and take her back to the hotel. Most nights, he was asleep the moment his head hit the pillow. On Thursday night, since Sophie didn't have class the next day and he didn't have to wake up early to drive her, Leo knocked on Wyatt's hotel room door. Inside, Wyatt and Chloe were sitting on the couch, browsing online for items for their new house. They needed to buy things like bedding and small furniture before they moved in. Seeing Leo, Chloe stood up. Perfect timing. I'll go ask Sophie and Ashley what they think. She slipped out and went to the room next door. Leo sat down and got straight to the point. When is Arc Interactive actually going to start turning a profit? What's the rush? We spent tens of millions on marketing alone. If we don't start making money soon, I'm going to have a panic attack. I already told you, at this stage, traffic is number one. With a few tens of millions in marketing, a single League of Legends skin can make hundreds of millions in one day. So how do we monetize our platform? Ads or in-game purchases? Probably not ads. More likely in-game purchases. But we might also release paid, standalone games. Leo frowned. Standalone paid games don't really have a market here in the States, do they? The real money is in online multiplayer. Someone has to do it, Wyatt said with a smile. The levels for Wobbly Woes will eventually run out. Since the team already has experience with this type of game, we should strike while the iron is hot and launch a casual, level-based game that's closer to an online multiplayer experience. You mentioned last time that our platform had a lot of female and younger users, right? I think we can target our new game specifically to them. When? The sooner, the better. You keep recruiting. It's best to poach experienced programmers from bigger companies. I'll figure out the game design. Don't tell me you've already thought of a name for this one, too. Actually, I have. What is it? Starfall Party. Wyatt had long ago set up a supplementary credit card for Chloe. She rarely used it until recently, when she started shopping online for their new house. Now, Wyatt received several notifications a day. So, in addition to his regular work, he had a new job, package retriever. Every evening, Wyatt would go to the mailroom, sometimes needing more than one trip to carry everything. At first, it was bedding and 3-piece sheet sets. Then came the small kitchen appliances, followed by pots, pans, and other small items. Wyatt usually left the packages sealed, saving them for Chloe to open when she was on break from classes. He loved watching the smile light up her face when she unboxed something she was really happy with. So, even if it meant 2 trips to the mailroom in one day, he never complained. He'd even praise her excellent taste as she unpacked. Last year, the company had hosted 2 major events, one during the summer and one during fall break. Both had garnered significant attention. With that experience under their belt, the preparations for this year's YW launch went smoothly. Every milestone Wyatt had set at the beginning of the month was met on schedule. On the evening of the 27th, Vivian, too restless to stay at home, had Victor drive her to the event venue. When they arrived, Wyatt was already there. "Lady Boss, Victor." Wyatt waved them over. Vivian walked slowly to his side. "How are the preparations coming along?" "Very well. The models will all be here tomorrow night, and the first full rehearsal is the night after." The head of business relations told me that not only have many domestic fashion brands requested invitations, but several international brands have as well. "I expect a full house." Vivian nodded. "I won't be going on stage this time. Why don't you say a few words at the end?" "That wouldn't be appropriate." Victor laughed. "What's not appropriate about it? You're practically half the owner of YW. Investing is my main business. If I get on that stage, the fashion magazines will cook up all sorts of stories. I've already spoken with Elaine Young. She'll come on stage at the end as the designer." Vivian nodded in agreement. "Yes, she's the most suitable person. She should have been the one to go on stage last year." Vivian and Victor stayed for about half an hour. After Victor took a call, they left. Wyatt did one last walkthrough of the site, and seeing no issues, he headed back to the hotel with Chloe. As they pulled into the parking garage, he saw Leo's car. Leo, Sophie, and Ashley were just getting out. Wyatt honked twice. The three of them stopped and waited when they saw it was him. After Wyatt and Chloe got out of their car, Ashley was the first to speak. "Chloe, why are you and Wyatt still staying at the hotel? Isn't your new house ready?" Chloe explained, a little embarrassed. "Wyatt's mom said we have to pick a lucky day to move into a new house. So we're planning to move in on the 5th of next month. Can we come over for a housewarming party?" "Of course." Leo started talking to Wyatt about work. "You're not going to believe this, but I received an incredible resume today." "How incredible?" "Graduated from MIT. Dexter looked at his resume and said the guy is a monster. We've scheduled an interview for 10 tomorrow morning." Wyatt chuckled. "What's so strange about that?" "See, Investments already has several Ivy League alums. That's different. If you're free tomorrow morning, do you want to sit in on the interview?" "We'll see." Wyatt had said, "We'll see," but at 9:30 the next morning, Leo came and practically dragged him over to Arc Interactive. The truth was, Leo felt completely out of his depth. He was just a senior at a state school, while the candidate was a graduate from one of the top universities in the world. Making Leo, the lead interviewer, felt like a cruel joke. Wyatt sat in the office for a bit. At 10 o'clock sharp, a young man with a backpack appeared at the company entrance. HR had him fill out a form as per procedure, then brought the form to Wyatt before leading the young man into the conference room. There was a noticeable difference between students from top-tier universities and those from regular schools. The former were generally very confident, a self-assurance backed by their knowledge. In contrast, students from ordinary schools often showed signs of nervousness in public or during interviews, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, tapping their feet. In severe cases, they would even stutter. "Evan Pham, that's me. Please have a seat." "Thank you. Let me introduce everyone," Wyatt said with a smile. "I'm Wyatt. This is our technical director, Dexter Duan, and our operations director, Leo Cheen. The three of us will be interviewing you today." "Okay. Should I give a brief self-introduction?" Wyatt nodded and gestured for him to begin. Evan's self-introduction was anything but brief, but every point was impressive. He had won the ACM International Collegiate Programming Contest, taken first place in the National Collegiate Software and IT Professionals competition, and mentioned several other accomplishments Wyatt didn't even understand. When he finished, Wyatt had Dexter begin the technical part of the interview. The two of them launched into a discussion filled with professional jargon and English technical terms that left Leo completely lost. This went on for a good 15 minutes. From the speed and clarity of Evan's answers, it was obvious his technical skills were top-notch. So, Wyatt took over. "Your resume could get you a job at any major tech company. Why are you willing to interview with us?" Evan's answer was direct. "At a big company, I have to wait my turn and climb the ladder. Your company was just founded this year, so it's new and with investments backing it. The growth potential is huge. There's also another reason." He paused deliberately. "What reason?" Leo asked. "A senior from my university works at investments now. He told me I couldn't go wrong coming here." Wyatt smiled. "What are your salary expectations?" "Monthly, yes. For the first year, I'm looking for $15,000 a month. But I've heard that Investments offers very generous year-end bonuses. I was wondering if Arc Interactive does the same. There are only 4.5 months left until the end of the year, so technically you wouldn't be eligible for this year's bonus. However, if you pass the interview, I can offer you a chance. As long as you can complete your tasks on time and as standard." "No problem." All right, that's it for now. We'll be in touch. Okay. Evan nodded, and as he was about to stand up and leave, Wyatt looked at him and smiled again. Just one more thing off the record. Do you have a girlfriend? Evan was taken aback for a second, then frowned and shook his head. Wyatt nodded, saying nothing more. After Evan left, Leo immediately asked, "What was that last question about? What does it matter if he has a girlfriend?" Wyatt tapped his finger on the information form in front of him. He's from the same hometown as Ashley. The offer was sent via text that evening. Since it was the end of the month and the company was about to close for the fall break holiday, the requested start date was October 8th. Wyatt hadn't been lying. Evan Fong and Ashley were from the same hometown, and he was a great catch. But they had never met, and Wyatt wasn't about to rush into playing matchmaker just yet. On the evening of the 29th, Wyatt arrived at the event venue early. The models were already in the backstage area getting ready. This year's collection had similar styles to the last, but with a much broader and more adventurous color palette. Wyatt took a seat in the audience, directly facing the stage, and watched the rehearsal intently. The models, once again, were chosen based on a classic, mainstream standard of beauty. The rehearsal went off without a hitch. "Mr. Wyatt, what do you think?" The show's director, Julie, asked him after it was over. Wyatt nodded. "It's good. With the music and lighting tomorrow night, the effect will be even better." He then remembered something else. "Didn't we have a sponsor for this event?" She never provided any products. Julie shook her head, clueless. Nearby, Hannah suddenly let out a small gasp. "Oh no, with the lady boss on leave, I completely forgot about that. This is bad. I hope it's not too late." She paced back and forth, wringing her hands like a worried mother hen. Wyatt turned back to Julie. "Can you ask the models to stay a little longer?" "Of course. Their time is ours for the evening." "Good." Wyatt held out his hand to Chloe for his phone and called Renee. As luck would have it, Renee was having dinner with Alex. She glanced up at him as she answered the call. "Hello, Mr. CEO. Are you busy?" "Not at all. Can you send a batch of your pearl jewelry over to the venue tonight? We're in the middle of rehearsals." "Of course," Renee said quickly. "I'll arrange it right away. I was worried Vivian had forgotten about it. I'll text you the address. The sooner, the better. We're all waiting here." "Okay, no problem." Renee, who was only halfway through her meal, hung up and immediately started packing her bag. Alex looked confused. "What's so urgent?" "The YW launch is in rehearsals tonight. I need to get a shipment of pearl jewelry over to them so they can promote my brand. I'll go with you." Renee nodded, and they hurriedly left the restaurant. Back at the venue, Wyatt hung up and added, "One more thing. I noticed a lot of the models were wearing stockings during the show. Are those our own companies?" I don't think so." "Why not?" "YW may be independent, but it's spun off from the same parent company. Since we've acquired a hosiery factory and have our own products, why would we feature someone else's on our own runway?" Wyatt's tone was firm. "At the show, everything on display, apart from the models themselves, must be our own." The staff member in charge of that area immediately replied, "I'll get on it right now." Renee was fast. An hour later, she and Alex arrived, each carrying a large box. Wyatt hadn't known they were together. Since the semester started, he hadn't spent much time at the dorms. Seeing Alex here was a surprise. "I brought a few of each style," Renee said. "I don't know if it's enough. If not, I can call tonight and have another batch shipped from our Connecticut warehouse." "Where's Tanya?" Wyatt called out. "Right here. Get Elaine on a video call. Have her help you figure out which jewelry pieces go with which outfits." "Got it. I'll head backstage too," Renee added. Wyatt nodded. Renee followed Tanya toward the back. Alex was about to trail after them, but Wyatt grabbed his arm. "It's this late, and you're hanging out with Renee? None of your business. You little traitor, turning on me so quickly? Wasn't it some idiot who was texting me in the middle of the night, saying something like, 'Don't mention me' to Renee? We're not right for each other?" There was a whole group of people standing around. Hearing this, Alex panicked and clapped a hand over Wyatt's mouth. "Don't do this to me. I'll explain later, I promise." He then scurried toward the backstage area. He had barely stepped inside before he came rushing back out, his face beat red. The backstage area was a flurry of activity, with models in various states of undress, changing their stockings. Once everything was ready, they ran through the rehearsal a second time. With the addition of the jewelry, the model's elegance was amplified. When it was finally over, close to 11 o'clock, Wyatt stood up. "That's it for tonight. We'll continue tomorrow." After Wyatt left, Julie clapped her hands. "All right, everyone, that's a wrap for tonight. Go home and get some rest. It's this late. Can you still get into your dorm?" Renee had also stayed until the end of the second rehearsal. Backstage, she had noticed Alex checking his phone several times. On the drive back, she finally asked. Alex stammered, I should be able Should be able? It's either yes or no. What does should mean? The doors lock at 11:30, Alex admitted. It's probably too late now. Renee glanced at the clock on the car's dashboard, paused for a moment, then asked, do you have your ID? No, Alex quickly added, but I have a picture of it on my phone. Renee nodded slightly. Then let's go to a hotel. What? Alex's head whipped around to look at her. When he saw she was about to turn her head, he snapped his gaze back to the road, his stutter getting worse. Gigi, go. To a hotel. Renee hadn't expected such a strong reaction. Given her age and experience, she knew instantly he had gotten the wrong idea. She let out an exasperated laugh. What are you so nervous about? I mean, I'll drop you off at a hotel. Then I'm going back to my own place. Alex's face flushed a deep, mortifying red. I'm not nervous. Renee was secretly delighted. She had never seen a man turn so red from a single sentence. After a few minutes of silence, she decided to tease him again. What are you sighing about? Disappointed? Agitated? Alex's voice jumped an octave. I wasn't sighing. Haha, just messing with you.